What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy and Frames Sunday pregame show. I'm your host, Jorge Edwards. Got JT with me. The Shoot the Gap crew is running the pregame show for a little bit this morning before we have more of our guys showing up and joining us to help answer all of your questions and to go over some plays and fades and some matchups for Week 15. Yes, folks, we have arrived. The very first round for many of you of the fantasy football playoffs. Uh, let's do this thing. JT, how you doing?
Doing good. Get it. This is when every week is you get nervous about starting lineups, but I
Right,
think the first week of the playoffs
right,
is probably one of the worst as far
right.
as like anxiety because you're like you just don't want to make the one bad call that ruins your whole season that you just spent months and months building up towards, and then you make one wrong call and it knocks you out and you're done. Oh, so I tell you what, I think I've looked at my lineups at least 5 to 6 times in every league so far this week, and I just keep checking it and checking it. And I'm like, do I play that guy? Do I put? I'm going to be doing it up till the game starts today. I'm going to keep looking at my lineup and wonder if I should switch a guy out here or there. Oh, very frustrating.
I This is also the time of year where I realize I'm in too many leagues. In the case in point, for one of our IDP leagues I think it was for the Fantasy and Frames Dynasty League, I left Servassier Dennis in my linebacker spot who was out, and I caught him in one league. I did not catch him in that league, and I was like, "Oh God!" Like if that's how we're starting Week 15, this is not great.
Jorge,
Charlene,
I did the exact same thing. We talked about it on Shoot the Gap on Wednesday night. I'm like, Tyke Smith is going to probably be out. He's doubtful he's going to
right?
be out. I didn't take him out of my lineup. I like got the game started. I'm like looking, checking lineups. I'm like, oh, that's the one league I had Kyle Pitts in. So I'm like looking at my score to see what I got out of him. And I'm like, I picked up a backup and didn't get him put in because he was on Fab. So I picked him up on Wednesday night, and I somehow did not check again Thursday to make sure I had switched him out. I was so mad, and this was like a 3-point like matchup in the first round. And I'm the 3 seed, and I was like, I cannot believe I just blew it and left him in. And it's only a one DB, so I'm like, there's a ton of guys to choose from that at least score me something. It's not like I'm like in a super deep 36 team league and there's not a single guy left out there. I was so mad, and then Kyle Pitts went off to save me. So I first want to just say congratulations to everyone who had Kyle Pitts and played him. I
Yeah.
also want to say I'm sorry to everyone who's going against Kyle Pitts in the first round. You didn't see that one coming to absolutely hammer you to start the weekend. So now you're playing catch up. So I feel bad for you people that have to do it. I checked my lineup. I luckily am not going against too much Kyle Pitts this week. Quite a few bye weeks, I think, saved me.
I mentioned this on Shoot the Gap that this past week, which you can catch every week, obviously for the remainder of the fantasy football season at 9 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube and Twitter channels. And I was taking on Gary Davenport. I am taking on Gary Davenport, and where's Kyle Pitts? Right on the bench. All 45 points of him in that matchup. So off to a great start there versus the Godfather by DP. We got Charlene in the chat this morning. Good morning to you. I have so many questions today. She too left in Servassier Dennis. Her and I are actually, speaking of Shoot the Gap, we are in the toilet bowl. You want to talk about a league where I just completely just God, what WTF, Jorge? Charlene, are we competing against each other this week? Because if that's the case, I'm still going to be competitive and not give you any advice, or at least the right advice. I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you. I would never do that.
He's like, I would never intentionally give you wrong advice. I would.
This goes out to Charlene and Charlene only. Play Tyke Smith. He's already been declared out. Yes, exactly. Benjamin in the chat. Good morning. What's going on? Good morning there, Benjamin. Torn on two decisions: Caleb or Nix, and Hampton or Walker in PPR. That's a great question. Let's go to the tail here. Let me pull up some information here. So Green Bay, Denver, 42.5. where has Green Bay been the past month? I like to look at the fantasy points. I don't like. First of all, this time of year, I hate looking at season long numbers. I hate looking at season long because what happened in September means absolutely nothing, or October, or even chunks of November mean nothing to what's happening now because you have injuries, you have changes in coaching philosophies, you have some coaches running zone for a good chunk of the year, and then all of a sudden they've been switching it more to man recently, or you're seeing more of a split. Philadelphia, screw you when researching going against you because you're 16th in zone and 16th in man coverage. And I'm just like, you suck. I hate you. Even more reason to hate you because I'm a Commanders fan. So you look at where Green Bay is in terms of the quarterback situation, fantasy points allowed, 21st over the past 4 weeks. And then he said also, Caleb, let me pull that number up real quickly here.
Yeah, Jorge, as you're looking at that, the big thing to think about this game, and I think we're going to get a load of questions about this game, is that Bears Browns game. It is insane weather here in Illinois. We got about 8 inches where I live, about 2 hours south of Chicago. It is supposed to be like a negative 20 wind chill factor in Chicago today. It could be absolutely freezing cold. Now, we've seen in the past that cold doesn't always mean no go on passing game. The wind and rain usually makes it worse. But this is one where I think a lot of people, if you've got a better option than Caleb Williams this week, I think you take it. I think the Bears are going to try to run as much as possible. I'm probably taking Knicks at home in Denver against Green Bay, even though that Green Bay pass defense I think is really underrated. I think they're a really good pass defense. And again, Knicks hasn't been blowing you away lately with a lot of starts, but I think we're going to see a ton of Caleb Williams and a ton of Shadur Sanders questions. Like, are you playing those guys and are you playing their wideouts? I'm probably going Knicks over Caleb Williams here just for that reason. A tough Browns defense. They've been really good of late, and then the weather on top of it. I think the Bears could end up looking decent offensively, but I would be shocked if we just see an all-out monster performance from like Caleb Williams today. So I think that one's tough. Hampton Walker's a tough one too. Hampton looked pretty good the other day getting back in. I like Hampton there. I'm probably playing him over Kenny Walker, even though you're thinking, all right, can the Seahawks, they're the biggest favorites today, 14-point favorite against the Colts. You think, hey, man, they get up early. They're rolling. Let's get Kenny Walker and let's get Charbonnet carries. But I have to tell you, I am a little nervous on Walker just with the inconsistency of how they've used him lately is got me just a little timid about just throwing him out there. I think I'm probably going Hampton over Walker in that situation. They showed that they were not afraid to get Hampton back involved, caught a touchdown in the previous game. And Kenny Walker, the last couple weeks, not horrible, but not great. 10 carries, 29 yards, 13 for 56, 11 for 71. You got to go back 4 weeks, 16 for 67 and a touchdown against the Rams. That is by far his best performance until you go all the way back to October 5th against Tampa when he had 10 carries for 86 and 19 for 81. We have not seen him eclipse 86 yards in 2 months. And he's not been over 70 other than the Tennessee game where he only had 11 carries for 71 yards. Really hard to trust Kenny Walker right now.
So Green Bay gives the best matchup here versus the quarterback position, and on top of the weather situation that you were talking about for the Browns-Bears game, that I'm with you on Bo Nix. As far as, Omari and Hampton versus Kenny Walker, let's think about this. You go back to Monday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles the past month have been very stingy, I should say, against running backs. Yet we saw we saw Omari and Hampton get involved, like you were mentioning. Got your 13.7 half PPR points. So imagine that in PPR. Like you said, we saw the reception upside there. They're not afraid to, that's the thing we got to walk away from these fantasy playoffs, folks, is, when we're talking about wide receivers, we're talking about running backs, in particular tight ends. It is very easy to see on our fantasy app on our phone, or if we're still using our PCs, the green for a good matchup, the yellow for an okay matchup, and the red for a bad matchup. because at the end of the day, you can't base all of your decisions off of those three colors. This is not a stoplight. Okay. We have to really pay attention here, because at the end of the day, you're not chasing fantasy points from week to week. You're chasing targets. You're chasing attempts. You're chasing rushing attempts within the 5-yard line. That's whenever they say on TV in scoring position, the so-and-so teams are in scoring position for running backs. When they're referring to scoring position, that means they're within the 5-yard line. So we like to look at inside the 5-yard line percentages and seeing who's leading in that situation. So again, you're chasing the opportunity, you're chasing the volume, you're not chasing the fantasy points from week to week. So given the fact that we saw the volume go Hampton's way and Vidal's way, and then Hampton, they showed him in overtime, and thank God for that overtime catch it was a catch or a rush for 20 yards, whatever it was. The usage was there, and that's only going to ramp up, especially in a tough division matchup here. Trust that Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, those two the past month have been neck and neck in productivity. And that's great. But like I said, Benjamin, if you're needing something for upside here in terms of a running back situation, I'd rather go with Marion Hampton than Kenneth Walker here. So that's what I have to say about that. Good luck to you this week. If you have any more questions, just drop them in the chat, and we will try to get you an answer as soon as possible. And that goes for everybody else. I get it. Questions galore, and we will do our best as we get to it. We will get to your question. It will just maybe require you just to be a little bit patient with us, but we will get to you, and we really appreciate you tuning in this morning. All right, JT, we got an IDP question from Charlene. Battle or Hufanga? So Cincy going against Baltimore. You know where Baltimore ranks in terms of fantasy points allowed on average to the position for IDP? Last. So give me Hufanga in this matchup here.
I was gonna say, I have battle like Charlene. I have battle in quite a few spots, and I actually have dropped him or moved him out for other guys this week. I'm not trusting him. I go Hufanga there.
I've got another question here. Need one flex and one running back. I'm assuming it's standard, right, Charlene? I know it's not standard because she hates standard leagues, because she hates things that are great. And good thing that Nate Markham's not here, because then he would give me some crap about saying that I just said. She needs one flex, one running back. Okay. Jaden Higgins, Juwan Jennings, Rico Dowdle, Woody Marks, Devin Neal. For me, Woody Marks is the player that's going to help you get to round 2. You look at the Arizona Cardinals. They're allowing 5.42 yards per carry. They're allowing the second most touchdowns to running backs. They're let's see what they're doing here. They're 14th in receiving yards, but that's okay. Where are they at? They're 3rd in fantasy points per game since week 11. You love what you're seeing here. And they're top 15 in receptions allowed. So Woody Marks for the running back. And then for me, I love the efficiency. I love everything you're getting from Jaden Higgins. And if you were going to start Jaden Higgins, and I said this on the waiver wire show this past Monday with Stacey Perez and Colby Conway, this is the week to start Jaden Higgins, because his matchups only get exponentially tougher here on out. That being the case, if I have Juwan Jennings, I'm playing Jennings over Higgins. So Jennings, and Woody Marks in this situation.
For me, I'm Woody. I love Woody. Been talking about it all year. Now it's time to finally just hammer him. There's a good chance Chubb does not play today, and if he does play, he's gonna be questionable. So I'm on Woody Marks. I love Devin Neal this week going against the Panthers. These Saints-Panthers games always seem to be close. You just never know. The Panthers have been outstanding versus the pass. I think the Saints are going to have to run the football. I think Devin Neal is going to get volume. I'm actually Marks Neal in Standard League 100%, not even close. I'm probably Marks and then slightly Neal over Juwan Jennings this week in half PPR. In full PPR, I might slightly lean Jennings over Neal, but it's going to be close. I've got a lot of leagues where I've got Marks and Neal, and I'm very tempted to play both of them. I just think Neal could see a lot of touches. Devin Neal, I have to say, Woody Marks and Devin Neal were two of my favorite running backs in this rookie draft class, I was trying to get them everywhere. So I love those guys. I'm loving the fact that they're getting a shot here when it counts at the end of the season. Maybe not for their teams per se with Devin Neal, but it counts for us in fantasy.
Yeah, when you look at the usage here for the Texans since week 12, so again, the short sample size over the past 3 weeks, in terms of snaps, Woody Marks, and both of these players, Nick Chubb and Marks, have played those in 3 games. Snaps go Woody Marks' direction, 138-40 to Chubb's. Snap percentage, 71.9 to 20.8. Fantasy points per game in half PPR, 9.7 to 3.9. Obviously, PPR, you bump up that situation there. Targets, 5-1 for Nick Chubb. You go to success rate. Woody Marks leads success rate on rushing attempts over Chubb. So everything is pointing Woody Marks' direction. So, yeah, definitely with you there. But to your point, as far as Devin Neal, he has an excellent matchup this week as well. So it's yeah.
If you look at Fantasy Pros rankings, they've got both those guys as running back 2s this week. So, I mean, you look at Devin Neal last week, 19 carries, 70 yards, a touchdown, also had a catch the week before, 14 carries, 47 yards, 3 catches, 20 yards. So he's got a nice floor there for Devin Neal, and if he pops one in the end zone, you're feeling really good about it. He's at 23 right now with Woody Marks at 16. So, like I said, you got 2 guys, fairly decent upside for both those players this week.
Yeah, I have, let's see here. If I go to my rankings, let me pull those up real quickly. I'm not too far from consensus here. Woody Marks I have at 14. Let's see here. Devin Neal at 24. So, yeah, right around the same. A little bit higher for Marks just because of we do these over at fantasyandframes.com, which you could also check out our we call them plays and fades, but you could call them starts and sits. What is really cool about the articles that we're doing, though, thanks, Charlene, for the question. We'll get to your question a little bit later. We got Albert in the chat. Good morning. Good morning, Albert. What's really cool about these articles this week at fantasyandframes.com, and I can pretty much guarantee that you won't find this anywhere else on any other website, is that a lot of places are still doing starts and sits, and in some situations, you can't sit the players that they're recommending you to sit. So we had our writers, and we're going to be doing this for the rest of the fantasy playoffs. We're giving you 3 options to play or to start. Your ceiling, your high upside plays, your stable floor, right, and then your normal floor play. So and it's funny how we have them written out. Each analyst created their own ranking system. So let me Rep Manual, our Manual Sports over on Twitter. He created 3 categories: take a chance, go for broke, play it safe. I love that. That's for offense. And then for our IDP junkies out there, if you go Joe Harlow, JoLo63, who does not have enough followers, on Twitter, great IDP content. His play of the week is Joshua Hines-Allen at defensive line, ceiling Jalen Phillips, and then floor George Karlaftis, just to give you a little teaser there, as well as we give you a lot of fades. So head over to fantasyandframes.com. These are short reads, but they give you tons of information that you'll need to help you with your matchups if you're not getting those answers elsewhere. And again, we're giving you multiple options. So just think about that. All right, JT, you said you have a question ready for
Yeah,
us?
we got one here. I want to pull it up here just to get some clarification from him. So, Samuel, if this is your question, jump into the chat, hit us up. He says he's got a team. He's got May, Gibbs, Taylor. Congratulations on both of those guys. McLaren, Jennings, Warren. He had Irving in the Bucky Irving in the flex, bad game versus Niners. And he's got my guy, Mevis, a kicker from Mizzou. Awesome. On his bench, Sutton, Myers, Charbonnet, Corum. He says in waivers is likely. If you're asking, should you pick up Likely and play Likely, the answer is 100% yes for me. I think Isaiah Likely going against the Bengals, who have been the worst defense in the league against tight ends, I think Likely has a nice game today. We've seen the uptick. If you get rid of the fumble for the touchdown, some of the other random penalties that have happened, he's actually looked really good for the Ravens. I picked him up in a bunch of leagues, and I'm actually playing even in non-PPR or tight end premium leagues. I think he's a really good start this week. So I'm in on likely. If you have to drop a player, then let us know. We can maybe tell you who to drop. For me, it's probably Corum or Charbonnet there, but I do like likely. I love Tyler Warren, so I don't want to say that I don't love Tyler Warren, but I'm playing likely over Tyler Warren this week with just the question marks for the Colts at tight end. If I have a shot to take likely over Warren, I'm playing likely this week.
Yeah, like you said, wow. Okay, I did not intend to do that. My bad. But like you said, likely against the Cincinnati Bengals. Look, Dawson Knox last week, for example, 96 yards. Okay, everybody was like, "Oh, Dalton Kincaid's coming back," but then all of a sudden he had, the fountain of youth water and its regenerative powers, and he came onto the field. But we saw Dawson Knox. If Dawson Knox can put up 96 yards, imagine Isaiah Likely, who could put up 100 easily in any given week. Both he and Andrews, I'm more confident in Likely than I am Andrews, but I think both of them have great opportunities this week to get you at least double-digit fantasy points in your matchups there. So thanks Samuel, for the question. Appreciate it. Let's get back into some other ones here. We got some.
Yeah, we got some rapid fire ones here. If you want to pull them up here,
let's do it. Charlene, another IDP question. Need a defensive lineman. Zach Allen, Landry, Benito.
No doubt, Charlene.
She says she's starting Rivers in a super flex this week. I am terrified and excited. You know what?
That is this week. It is. Philip Rivers is the first week of the playoffs in fantasy. Terrified and excited all at the same time. As someone who watched Philip Rivers as a Colts season ticket holder when he was actually there, this whole move has me baffled. I don't know if this is the greatest decision the Colts have ever made, or if this is absolutely going to blow up in their face. But I guess I'm here for it. I'm going to watch it, and whatever happens either way, I'm not going to be that shocked, to be honest with you. I can see it going a million different ways. Charlene's right on the plate. That Rivers situation and a ton of these younger quarterbacks playing for injured guys, man, it's wild. We might get into some of those later, depending on how many questions we have. We might talk over some of those other guys.
Sounds good. Okay, let's keep going rapid fire. One wide receiver, one flex. Our options are Booty, Addison, Franklin, Tucker, Mechie, DeMarcado, Waller. So for me, any wide receiver going against Dallas this week, automatic
Addison,
play for me.
Absolutely, 100%.
Addison is the wide receiver. For the flex, no Pat Bryant this week for the Denver Broncos. So I'm liking that matchup for Franklin. To be honest with you,
I'm Addison for sure. I'm a Franklin Boutte kind of back and forth. Franklin's numbers, his snap shares come down of late, but no Pat Bryant, I think, should push him into playing a little bit more. I don't trust Tucker, not with Kenny Pickett.
Right.
Mechie with Brady Cook. I love Brady Cook. Go Mizzou. Love to see him getting the start today, but again, you can't trust that. DeMarcado has been out for weeks. I'm no go on him. And Waller, I'm leaning better QB, so I'm going Addison. It's a coin flip between Franklin and Boutte for me. I have a lot more Franklin, so personally, I'll probably be playing more Franklin.
So you mentioned the snap percentages for Franklin going down. That's because we've seen the increase in Pat Bryant. There is a direct correlation between both of those guys, and now with Pat Bryant being out, I trust Franklin. So Addison and Franklin there.
Jorge, I will throw in a real quick one for anybody out there. If you are in desperate need of a pickup this week, little Jordan Humphreys for Denver's been seeing increased playing time, and with Pat Bryant out, there's a chance he sees some decent snaps. It's a long shot, folks. It's a long shot. So I'm telling you, it's a long shot. But if you are just desperate to get someone in your lineup that might score, little Jordan Humphreys for Denver might be a pickup.
It's Lil versus Little. I make the same mistake.
I can't ever do it. Even when it's rappers, I never can say Lil correctly. It's the English school, going there, journalism school, saying Lil. I can't.
It's hard. No, you're not wrong.
My teachers would be yelling at me for saying that.
I'll talk, with my friends, or I'll talk to some coworkers, and we're talking about our favorite artists, and like for some reason those two T's just insert themselves. It's like, Lil Wayne, and they're just like, excuse me. I'm like,
Yeah, the little guy,
Wayne. Lil Wayne, yeah, he likes that other artist. It's bad.
I do the exact same thing, man. It's so funny.
Yeah. Let's see. We got Jordan Love 1283. What's up? Hope you're playing yourself this week. Not against yourself. PPR flex and wide receiver 2. Christian Watson, Michael Wilson, DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman, and Cortland Sutton. Look, here is a perfect example for me why I'm not getting off of this Michael Wilson train here. Again, it's very easy when you have a situation where it's green, yellow, red on your app. It's very easy to avoid players who are in difficult matchups. But you know what Michael Wilson is not going to be avoiding this week? Targets. One of them is bound to get through to get you at least a touchdown. And then again, the receptions for PPR leagues just add up. So you may not get the yardage numbers from Michael Wilson, but you will get the receptions because he's going to get fed a lot as he is the primary guy outside of Trey McBride. Although McBride has the better matchup versus tight ends versus the Texans, I'm still going here Michael Wilson. As far as my flex is concerned, I'm going Christian Watson. Green Bay has been very, very, we talked about Green Bay all last year. We talked about Green Bay in the offseason. We've talked Green Bay for most of this season. Who do we pick? Who's the Green Bay Packer wide receiver? It's Christian Watson. He is featured in every single game. Jordan Love has the chemistry with him the most. So give me Watson here. Even though it's a PPR and he's more of a big play threat, I'd still go Watson in the situation.
Yeah, and Denver has loosened a little. They were real tough early on. Watson's been really good. I think you got to go Wilson, Watson, and then to me it's DK. I'm avoiding Pittman at all costs, as I'm sure we'll talk about throughout the show. I'm avoiding almost every Colts player because you just, I don't know what to expect there. Sutton, I don't love it either going against Green Bay. So I'm Wilson, like you said, for volume. I do like Watson as well. DK, obviously the upside. Everyone who sat him last week and then he blew up. What are you going to do?
Crypto Life Bags, we see you in the chat. We will get to you later. Thanks for coming and joining us this morning. Let's see here. Got Jamie in the chat. Good morning, Jamie. We got the Fantasy Football Show. I like that. The Fantasy. But see, then it's. I try to say the Fantasy Football Show, and it's going to come out automatically the Fantasy Football Show because I can't read, apparently. Anyhow, good morning, fellas. That was a long-winded segue, so let's get to the question. Pick one full PPR. I am going to go here. Is it Shamiri DK? I'm going to go with him here versus Hawkinson, who's 2 touchdown dependent, and Debo. He got, I think I read somewhere yesterday, he got like a 30% target share, 31% target share, and he only parlayed that into like 7 or 8 fantasy points last week. Like not super efficient with his targets, even when he was getting a whole lot of targets going his way. So give me the chemistry that the Tennessee wide receiver has with Cam Ward.
If you have any kind of points for special teams, you got to go DK because he's been absolutely tearing it up on that side of the ball. If not, I'm slightly, and I know this is probably going to burn me, I'm slightly leaning Debo here. I think actually Mariota has a decent matchup against the Giants. I think they can play this game pretty tough. I'm leaning Debo, but again, DK, especially if you've got any kind of fantasy points or special team points, we go there. So next one, Charlene. Let's get that one pulled up for you. So we need 1 running back, 2 flex. Corum, Kyron, Dowdle, Henderson, Isovich, Hollins, Hines, Judy, Parkinson, Ferg. That's a tough one. Okay, so in this one, 1 running back, I'm leaning Henderson. I just think he's been playing too well. You got to lean into him. I just like Henderson, even though Kyron's a little bit of a fade for me this week. I do like Henderson, probably the best in that mix. My flex plays, Kyron gets one of my flex spots. And then if you get any kind of tight end premium at all or anything, it'd be tough to not play Ferguson or Jawan Johnson. Ferguson, a little bit of a tougher matchup against Minnesota, but there should be, you would think, a decent amount of offense from the Cowboys in that one. Jawan Johnson on the other side is, he's kind of been the guy. The passing game has been tough going against the Panthers. They've been really good at this year, just kind of shutting people down. I think the Saints are really going to want to run. That's why I love Devin Neal this week. I'm leaning here. I'm leaning Henderson, Kyron, and I just don't think I can do Judy in the cold. He makes me real nervous. I'm probably going Henderson, Kyron, and Jawan Johnson. Those are going to be my three. But Ferg is right there. If you feel a little bit better about Ferg than Jawan Johnson, I can see you jumping in and taking that instead. Who else we got here? Jumping in here, Cap for Life. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the question. It says Breece Hall or Chris Rodriguez. Chris Rodriguez, game time decision. I'm very nervous about playing him. Just the fact that we've seen this happen before where a guy either gets declared out during warmups or he turns around and plays and then gets hurt right away. I'm going Breece Hall. You know they're going to want to get him the ball. Brady Cook, I know a lot of people don't know about him because they don't watch college football, but I watch him at Mizzou. He's a capable quarterback. He's not going to blow you away at all, but he can dump the ball off. He can do some different things. I think Breece Hall gets a bunch of touches, and if they get down in this game, there's a chance that he is dropping the ball for Breece Hall as they're bringing the heat all day long. So I'm going Breece Hall over Rodriguez. I just can't trust him with the injury designation. And, man, if I got a 0 in the playoffs for a guy who ended up not playing and I didn't get him out of my lineup, I'd be real angry. So I'm not taking that chance, especially when I'm in the amount of leagues I'm in. I'll miss that guy. I won't get to him before kickoff.
You mean like Servassier Dennis for me?
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. The Fantasy Football Show. Make sure you like the video. Yeah. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Hope you're enjoying it so far. And again, folks, thank you very much for being patient with us. All right, let's get to the next one. Cat for Life. What's going on? Flex spot. Gainwell, Juwan Jennings, or Justin Jefferson. I say really, but really, right?
The question is, it's like the fact that it's even a question is like insanity right now. I've said this all week. If you're ever going to get a blow up Justin Jefferson game, it's got to be this week, right? He's going against the Cowboys, one of the worst teams in the league against the pass.
Right.
I don't know how you don't play him. You got to. This is one of those things we always say, you want to play your studs, but you want to look at the matchup as well. Well, he's a stud who's not playing like a stud, but he's got a fantastic matchup. I think I would be kicking myself if I sat him and he had a huge game today. So I got to play Justin Jefferson in that spot.
So I will say this. If this is a PPR league, and you're able to get Gainwell into your flex, or if you have multiple flexes, let me put it another way. If I love JJ versus the Cowboys this week, I think you finally get some redemption. All fantasy managers have been looking for it all season long. I like Jawan Jennings as the primary focal point outside of George Kittle with Brock Purdy back. But Kenneth Gainwell, you look at, target share, team target share. He leads the Steelers in target share with a 15.7% rating here. You look at the percentage of the team, the total targets themselves. He's fifth amongst all running backs in the NFL since week 12. You look at the expected fantasy points per game. 12 points per game. He's averaging 11.3, and this is in half PPR. So he's not too far off the mark. So I like him from a running back perspective, especially in a PPR league. But for me, it's JJ, then Juwan, then Gainwell. So just that was more of like a NBC, the more you know, dun, 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 about Kenneth Gainwell. But I digress. All right. Anyhow, my bad. Let's see. I'm sorry. Bob Hope, 123. Hopefully this question is as easy as 123. Juwan Jennings, Myers, or Sutton PPR. Thank you. Man, I don't believe in Sutton this week. I think Troy Franklin takes more of the PPR upside there, so that's going to remove him off the list, although he's always a big play person. It's the receptions that are going to add up, I believe, for Troy Franklin. So it really comes down to Jacoby Myers or Juwan Jennings. For me, there are starting to become a little bit more mouths to feed in Jacksonville. I need to check on the status of Parker Washington.
Yeah, I haven't seen yet whether he's playing or not. That's still up for grabs. I will tell you, Jorge,
he's not listed. He's not listed on the injury report, so
he might be off it. He was questionable. My worry on Parker Washington is he was crushing when everybody else was hurt. Now that they have Myers, they added him. I think Myers and him play a lot of the same spot. Myers 10 targets last week, and he's not had less than 6 since he joined the Jags. I'm leaning Myers in this one. They're at home in Jacksonville. I like Myers. I think these guys are neck and neck, so this is a really good question. I think they're right next to each other. I would play either Jennings or Myers. I'm going Myers slightly 1A to Jennings 1B.
Okay. So hopefully, Bob, that helps you out there. Let's get to another question. It says, likely or strange? I get it. The Jets secondary actually has not been playing as horribly as I thought they would be after trading away Sauce Gardner. That being the case, their safety situation is in terms of coverage has not been great, which is what you would expect either one of the linebackers or one of the safeties to help out with the tight end position. But for me, it's still likely. Cincinnati, like the proof is in the pudding, right?
Yep. I'm playing both guys, but likely the upside is just there this week. You again, it's like the Justin Jefferson thing. You got to lean in hard when you have just such a great matchup, and he's actually been looking really good lately. I'm taking likely, though I'm playing Strange a lot of spots, likely over Strange this time, though. Another tight end one, right, coming at you quick, Jorge.
All right. Well, first of all, can you say liking, likely, lately 3 times fast? Like you just did?
I can't even repeat what you said one time fast. So that's good for me.
Nice. We got Colson Loveland, Gadsden, or Theo Johnson. I love Theo Johnson this week. Since week 11, the Commanders, the 3rd most generous team to the points to the tight end position. This should be. Wow, I can't believe I'm saying this, and I'm a Commanders fan. This should be somewhat of a clinic for this Giants offense. Words that I think none of us here would have ever said. This should be definitely interesting, a good scoring game. So Theo Johnson is going to have a good matchup this week.
I think Theo. I love Gadsden, but the passing game is just really struggling with that terrible offensive line for the Chargers with all the injuries. Loveland, it's freezing in Chicago. It's not that he can't have a decent game, but man, I think both these teams are going to play it close to the vest. I think it's going to be a really tight, low-scoring game. Theo is the upside, and of course he's tearing it up because I just traded him away like 3 weeks ago in a massive trade for Drake London. He immediately starts tearing it up, and Drake London got hurt the very first game I had him, killing me in a huge tight end premium, two-point tight end premium league. I'm really kicking myself for trading away Theo Johnson.
All right. Let's get to our next question from Jamie. This one's the hardest question of the day and the most pertinent. Would you pick up LaDainian Tomlinson just in case Jonathan Taylor gets hurt? Yes, I would. And let me tell you why. Because if you go on Sleeper, the Sleeper app, you can still get Matt Ryan. You can still get Ben Roethlisberger. I'm pretty sure Tom Brady is still listed as a free agent. I would love to say, this is my stupid, crazy, personality coming out here. If I won my fantasy title this year in one of my leagues, I would, first of all, I would wait till 12:55. Drop everybody who's on my bench, have my starters already locked in, and then pick up every single Hall of Fame legend that's available on waivers or maybe in the Hall of Fame, just so I can say, yeah, I won a fantasy championship with Peyton Manning, on my bench. It was piece of cake, even though I think I did back in the late 2010s. That's neither here nor there. But yes, I would pick up LaDainian Tomlinson just in case Jonathan Taylor.
Hey, JT and LT on the same team. Can't beat that.
That's right. I I got live stock market options. Ooh, I like that. Start one flex, Rico or Woody Marks. Woody Marks for me, PPR upside. Great matchup.
Woody.
Okay. Kicker question. I hate you, Charlene. Kicker question: McPherson or Bates, whichever one is playing indoors. I hate doing kicker rankings, even though I know we should. It's becoming a thing now. Whatever dark magic, it's keeping it alive. I know. I get it. I'd rather folks a DST question. I'm starting to get into DST. In fact, next season, I'm already planning to, instead of having DST rankings be in our weekly, other rankings, I'm going to incorporate them into our IDP defensive rankings, because I believe there is a way to correlate IDP with DST, and that's what I'm going to be spending a lot of my time this offseason doing research on. So be prepared for that next year. But she does have an IDP question, JT, and I'll let you take this one. Devin White or Demario Davis?
We know we love Demario Davis. He's a friend of the show, if you could say that. But I like him a ton. Devin White is a fade in a lot of circumstances this week, but I think you got to play him over Demario Davis this week. It's pretty close in my rankings. I think they're within 5 of each other. I do have Devin White slightly higher. They've been running the ball, not a ton of throwing the ball around in Philly. The weather is supposed to be bad. I'm probably going Devin White. I think you could see just a lot of running coming out of Philly today.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, let's get to our next. I lost my tab. Where's my tab? There we go. So thank you, Charlene, for the horrible kicker question and the IDP question. That was fantastic. Let's see here. At G_fresh13. What does your avatar say? Your only limit is you. I love that. I love that positivity. Folks, all the fantasy managers, remember that. Your only limit is you this week. You got this. And we're here to help you. PPR, start 1 wide receiver and 2 flex. Devontae Smith, Darren Waller, Christian Watson, Singletary, Waddle, Strange, or Slayton. So my wide receiver 1, despite the passing woes here in Philadelphia, is still Devonta Smith. I am all on board Devonta Smith rest of the season. Just, I know A.J. Brown's been starting to get his, but you think they're going to ignore him dropping that touchdown pass and just ignore, the matchups here? Devonta Smith provides so many mismatches for opposing secondaries, whether it's, his horizontal routes, his vertical routes, like everything about him, his separation, just yes. So that's my 1 wide receiver, 2 flexes. I am looking forward to Monday night because I'm looking forward to Jalen Waddle. So he's definitely my second one. And then Christian Watson would be my third. What about you, JT?
Yep. Exact same for you. The only thing I'm slightly changing is I would possibly consider playing Strange if you had a higher tight end premium, was a pretty high one over that. I would maybe slide him in for one of those guys, but I think you're right. I'm going Smith, Watson, Waddle.
All right. Crypto Life Bags, what's going on? Crypto Life Bags joined us on Shoot the Gap this past week. First time listener, watcher, all of the above, and provided some really great insight. And so we're really glad to see in the chat this week. He says, "Hey guys, are we liking Hunter Asai as a sleeper this week? I'm sitting Burns and Byron Young. I don't trust them this week." First of all, kudos to you for being able to say I am sitting Brian Burns, and Byron Young. Hunter Asai, I would love Osai in this matchup. I want to check something really quickly with Burns and Young. If you just hang on for 1 second. I want to look up whether their performances have been as of late. So here's the thing. It is hard for me to sit Brian Burns because the Commanders since week 12, and again, every IDP scoring setting is different per league. We all know that. We like to go off of Fantasy Pros because, hey, guess what? You go to fantasypros.com and you can actually track that information. Whatever your league's custom scoring is, I can't track that. Therefore, I can't give you, analysis based off of, trends and statistics and whatnot. So if we're going off of that, Washington, the past, since week 12, rather, or 3 weeks, has been the 6th most generous to the defensive end / edge rusher position in points per game. No Jaden Daniels this week, Mariota. I get it. Larry Tunsil has been playing really great. But Brian Burns, look what he did against Philadelphia, their first matchup, who also has a great offensive line. So I don't think this is a situation, much like you follow the target volume follow the opportunity and the pass rushing opportunity in his win rates this week. So I'd go Brian Burns here and Osai.
I like Jalix Hunt. I just think this is a great matchup for the Eagles.
Ooh, that's a
Defensive
good point.
ends.
Yeah.
Going against the Raiders, I think the Raiders are going to struggle. I tell you what, anybody who's watched a lot of Kenny Pickett, he likes to fake like he's going to roll out right and rolls out left and turns right into a defensive end to an easy sack. I think Jalix Hunt is a great play. That's my pick here. I just think the upside, he had 2.5 sacks last week. I think he can match that again this week. So if I'm going high upside, looking for a guy to get me some points, I like Hunt.
All right. We see live stock market options. Okay, I think he just asked the same question because we were not.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we were a little behind. So yeah, I think he put it in there in case we missed it. So yep, Woody Marks over Rico. We love Woody this week.
And we appreciate your patience. So thank you very much. And for those who are like, I got tons of stuff to do this morning, yada, yada, yada. There is a super chat function if you want to throw, given the holiday season, the season of giving, donation to our way. We will immediately put your comment, question onto the screen and answer you first. So I know some people have been doing that lately, so we appreciate that. But we will guarantee getting to your question. If not, just folks, we're doing the best we can. So please just stay patient. Charlene in the chat. Superflex, what 2 QBs am I starting? Stroud, Brissett, Love, Rivers need major upside. Pitts, what does it say? Pitts. Oh, Pitts.
She went against Pitts. Yeah. She went against Cal Pitts this week. She's like, I need a lot of points. I'm way behind this week. I like Stroud. I think Stroud's the definite start first guy. The upside is Brissett, though. The Texans. If you're playing Brissett and Stroud, you're just like begging for a shootout. Though that hasn't happened a lot with the Texans. They've been shutting everybody down. So that's, I think, the biggest question mark call this week for most people is going to be Brissett versus the Texans. Do you trust Brissett, who's been awesome lately, throwing the ball a ton, or do you trust the number one passing defense in the league in the Texans? Stroud Love is probably my 2 guys for the floor. Brissett is if like I'm just shooting for the moon and hoping he plays out of his mind and throws the ball 60 times and maybe get some garbage scores late. That would be my pick there. What do you think, Jorge?
You said Stroud and Love is who you're going with this week?
I think Stroud is the definite start. I said Love is the floor play with my second play. I'm saying if you're shooting for the moon, Brissett, you're hoping he just throws the ball a million times, gets some garbage yards, and maybe scores. And you hope that this Texans-Cardinals game is a little higher scoring than you anticipate, especially the game is, I think, in Texas. I'm pretty sure it's in Houston. So I think you don't have to worry about weather there, which is the nice thing.
Nope, Phillip Rivers all day. All day, son. All day. Just kidding. Stroud, love that. Mr. Scamper's in the chat. Good morning, Mr. Scamper. Sorry we didn't see you earlier. Andrew, we got you in the chat. Good morning. Goddard or Likely? I play against Pitts. Then you want Likely. Likely's going against Cincinnati. Cap for life. Great show, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It means the world to us. We try to do our best every week for you. We got a tight end question from Jamie. Tight end premium. Jake Ferguson or Cortland Sutton? It is automatically Ferguson for me in this situation. You, JT?
Ferg, for sure.
Ferg. Let's go to Charlene. Need 2 flex. Jordan Mason, Chuba Hubbard, John Mechie, Debo, Lockett, Gunnar Helm, Hunter Henry. So first of all, I respect the fact that Gunnar Helm is being listed as an option. I actually like what we've been seeing out of Gunnar Helm, unlimited opportunities, but climbing opportunities over at Chigaconquo in Tennessee. But for me, this is a situation where Chuba Hubbard is a 1 flex for me, and I would go Debo Samuel in this second option. What about you, JT?
Yeah, I'm Chuba and Debo. Unless there's some kind of tight end premium, I would consider playing Hunter Henry over Debo, but not unless it's at least 0.75 or 1 more. I'd go Chuba and Debo. And a good point brought up earlier in the chat. I was looking back through it. Crypto for Life said, hey, no Ertz this week. He likes the upside of Debo with no Ertz. So I do like that. That's a good point. They got Ben Sinat, which I like Ben Sinat coming out. I told you it would take at least 3 years for him to get in the mix. I'm not sure if he just automatically becomes Zach Ertz this week. So, and all of a sudden gets all his target share. So I do like Debo for that factor as well.
I don't know, man. Like, and again, this is my complete biased, unresearched, unprepared, just shooting off the cuff side coming out here, which is what I'm sure everybody here was here for. Cliff Kingsbury, he likes to make his tight ends a target. I'm just putting it out there. Anyhow, my bad. Jamie has a question. Jalen Warren or Kenneth Walker. So I mentioned this a little bit earlier in regards to rushing and receiving, and it's Kenneth Gainwell by a large margin in terms of success rate rushing the ball compared to Warren. So just to give you an idea, so rushing success rate, Kenneth Gainwell is 6th amongst running backs. Jalen Warren is 29th. That doesn't really scream to that doesn't efficiency, chasing the metrics, chasing the opportunities, chasing the success. So I would go Kenneth Walker in this situation.
Man, that one's close to me. I'm slightly leaning Jalen Warren, but it's just I just don't trust what the Seahawks have done with Kenny Walker. I like Kenny Walker a ton. I just can't believe that he is getting as few touches overall as he is. I do think Jalen Warren's a little bit of a questionable play this week. He hasn't been getting, like you said, Gainwell's been way in the mix there in Pittsburgh. I probably lean Warren, but man, just barely.
Just checking one more thing. Yeah, okay, there we go. We got Brady and Johnson 4103. Welcome. I think this is the first time I recognize your name. I could be wrong. Woody Marks, RJ Harvey, or Omarion Hampton. You want to talk about an embarrassment of riches? I'm kind of angry that you put this in the chat because these are a lot greater options than I have in my league. So kudos to you, I guess. I guess we're rewarding this, No, we are rewarding this. This is a fantastic situation to have. I am going to be preaching this all day. I am team Woody Marks this week for a lot of these matchups. But if I had to rank them, I would go, F it. I'm staying true. I'm saying Woody Marks, Hampton, Harvey.
I concur.
All right, there we go. Thank you very much there, Brandon N. Johnson. Crypto Life Bags, Theo Johnson or Harold Fannin. I love the Commanders-Giants game for Theo Johnson this week. And I know Harold Fannin has been, one of the up-and-coming premier tight ends in fantasy football, let alone the best rookie tight end in his class this year. But give me Theo Johnson in this matchup.
Man, this one's tough. You want to play Fannin because he's been so good. But again, I don't ever want to put everything on weather because that's not everything. But man, the weather is not good in Illinois. How many situations does Cleveland want to put Sanders back there throwing the football, taking chances at turnovers? I mean, it's hard to not play a guy who just had 8 catches for 114 yards and a touchdown. Looked awesome against Tennessee. But if you ignore that game, he's been solid, but not spectacular. 3 for 43 and a touch, 4 for 40, 2 for 26, 4 for 44 his last 4 before last week's breakout. I do like Fannin a lot, but I'm with you, Jorge. I like this Theo Johnson matchup for the Giants. I'm going Theo here. I feel like him and Dart have a pretty decent connection. It's close for me, to be honest with you, and I wouldn't hate if you started Fannin, but with the weather and everything else considered, I think Theo has the better chance to get possibly like a touchdown or something. I just think this Bears-Browns game could just be a slugfest. Both these teams going back for trying to get in the end zone. I think it could be ugly.
I think this is a great situation, folks, where you have, a floor and a ceiling play. I think your floor play is Theo Johnson and your ceiling is Harold Fannin. Words, again, I thought I'd never say this year, but it's turning out to be the case. G Fresh says, thanks. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hopefully you're still here watching. I know we're getting there, folks. We got reinforcements on the way. So we'll try to get to these as fast as possible. For me, Dalton Kincaid over Juwan Johnson, even though It's Carolina. Carolina is since week 11, 29th most difficult, 29th in points allowed to the tight end position, believe it or not. So yeah, I'm fading Juwan Johnson, even though Juwan Johnson, again, here's the thing. I'm not saying sit Juwan Johnson. If Juwan Johnson is one of your best options and you're thinking like, ooh, let me go get Dawson Knox who had a big game on the waiver wire, like don't do that. Don't do that. You're starting Juwan Johnson, but if I had to fade one in terms of tempering expectations, he's who I'm fading this week over Dalton Kincaid. In regards to the Brian Burns question, he's got his $1 million bonus. Yes, I'm going to play for. Oh, crypto life bags. I'm loving the money time.
Bringing the extra analysis. I love it.
I love it. This is great. All right, let's see. We got Ethan Blackwood 9326. What's going on? Yeshivas, Burden, Franklin. I liked what I saw in Luther Burden last week, obvious reasons. But for me, it's still Troy Franklin versus the Green Bay Packers this week. What are your thoughts here, JT?
Man, this one's close. I'm making this exact same decision in multiple leagues where I have all three of these guys, and I'm trying. So the problem with Easvaz is there's no T. Higgins, but it's like it either becomes him or Gesicki who ends up having the good game. It's neither both of them. It's like one of those guys end up playing well and the other guy does nothing. The Bears, again, I want to play Burden everywhere. I'm really nervous about the weather. The only thing is Burden is a yak monster. I could see him getting some short catches and turn them into some big gains today. DJ Moore has absolutely disappeared of late. I do like Franklin today, I guess, especially with Pat Bryant being out. But I'm leaning upside. I want Burden just because I think there's a chance he breaks a big one in bad weather. Defense slips. He turns on the Jets and takes one. So I will definitely having a Luther Burden anytime touchdown TD in one of my parlays today because I just think there's a chance he busts a big one. I'm going Burden upside. I think floor, if you want to just be safe, Franklin.
All right. Let's go to Charlene's question next. Need one tight end and two flex. Pierce, Gainwell, Strange, Mark Andrews, Kelsey, likely. So I'm going to go love Gainwell. I think that's been kind of established here this morning. So he's definitely one of my flexes. And then, man, it would be really cool. These are tight end premium leagues that you'll be talking about here because I wish I could say Alec Pierce. I just can't trust Phillip Rivers right now. We don't know what he's got.
Here's the thing with Alec Pierce. He's got more in the mix, but he's a deep ball guy. Rivers, we saw at the end of his career, man, he was shot putting balls out there. I have Alec Pierce everywhere, and I needed him this week. I can't play him. I can't trust it at all. I'm with you on that. I think you've got to go Gainwell just in one of the flexes. He's just been so solid. I'm going likely. I'm just going to be telling people likely all day just because I love the matchup against the Bengals. So I'm going likely as my tight end. Gainwell in the flex. And then, man, it'd be tough if you want to double up with Andrews and likely. That'd be tough. I could see maybe doing. I'm probably slightly leaning Strange. Kelsey hasn't been great either lately. Man, if you want to really go upside and don't care, and you play likely and Andrews, I could see you doing it. I definitely could because I think both guys have a shot to have good games.
Go to life bags. Thank you guys. Thank you. Really, seriously, it means a lot to us. I got Droxy. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Droxy 523 Seahawks defense or Jags defense. Here's the thing. I trust Jonathan Taylor over Breece Hall. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. Okay, so at least there is some level of elite upside on this Colts offense. And in fact, I'd probably be surprised if they don't lean more on Jonathan Taylor than they had in previous weeks. Although it's hard to do that, seeing as how he's leading every single metric in terms of rushing attempts on the team. I don't trust Breece Hall. This Jags defense, I know Rhett Manuel over at fantasyandframes.com, one of our guys who does the plays and fades. And then on Fourth and Frames, our weekly show on offense, which you can catch, rest of the season at 10 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube and Twitter channels. Let's just say Breece Hall, not on his high list of players. So give me the Jags defense here.
Yeah, this one's a toughie. Before the Rivers signing and whether that makes a difference, and like you said about JT running the ball, a lot of people have Seahawks as their number one defensive play this week, but the Jags are top 5 for most people. This one's a close. The Jets. I love Brady Cook. I hope he has a good game, but man, he doesn't even have Mason Taylor today. He's out. I mean, this offensive unit for the Jets is just decimated. He does not have a lot of guys he's going to. The Jags are playing a lot better than they have been. I can absolutely see playing either team. I think the Jags, especially if you're going points, like say if you're in a league where points are the big difference maker, like how many points you give up determines your scoring. I just don't think the Jets put up a lot of points today. So I think the Jags is probably slightly lean Jags, though that's a great problem to have. I think both those teams play really well today.
We'll get not to this question, but the next question. This one threw me through a loop, and I was previewing it ahead. I'll get to that in a second. Mr. Scampers, I got Pitts too, so FML. I hear you, man. I left him on my bench versus Gary Davenport in the Football Guys IDP League. So that should tell you how I'm feeling this morning. But I need one half PPR. Yay, the half PPR truthers or the non-PPR people out there in the chat. Love you guys like nobody's business. Lil Debo, I love it. Lil Debo again at the Giants or Sharps versus Indy. I'll take Debo with the reception half upside.
I'm taking Debo as well. I've never been a Sharp guy. I feel like every time he gets something, you're just like, I guess, because he just never blows me away. So I'm definitely Debo in this one.
So Jamie, with the next question, this is what I was kind of referring to. Start 2. If you didn't read Start 2 and you just said Dart hurt Stafford, I'm like, what? Why did Dart hurt Stafford?
That seems like a good. That's like a good team name though. If you had like all those quarterbacks, you're like, yeah, Dart hurt Stafford. That freaking dart to the neck. Every time. You're crazy, man. Crazy, man. You're crazy. I'm a Stafford for sure start in this one.
Yeah.
Man, Hurts. It's crazy that we're even considering playing Dart over Hurts right now. But man, but Hurts has just not been good. He's not been good. I know Vegas has been bad, but if you go back and look at the last, Hurts last week, let's just be honest. He scored me negative points in multiple leagues. It was real bad. At least he's gone 3 straight games of over 230 yards passing. That's the first time since early in the season he's done that after a bunch of 170, 180-yard games. My question with Hurts this week, if you're playing Hurts, you're counting on touchdown run from him. I just don't think there's any way that the Eagles are just throwing the ball all over the place in this game. So, I don't know. I'm slightly leaning Dart, but I can't even believe I'm saying that, to be honest with you. Am I crazy on that? And the fact that I just think the defense of the Commanders isn't as good, I think Dart has a higher upside today.
You know what? That's a great question to ask for the guys joining us now. I got Kyle Ziegler joining us on the show. You can catch him weekly at 10 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays on Fourth and Frames. Been a fantasy and framer for years. Does great redraft dynasty content. And if you head over to Fantasy Pros every week, he's always I feel like doing like a expose or being interviewed for a question about players left and right. So definitely gaining a lot of traction in the fantasy space, and we'd love to have him here. Kyle, is it crazy? First of all, welcome this morning. And second, is it crazy to play Dart over Hurts this week?
No, not at all. Thank you for that introduction, by the way, Jorge. That was very nice. But actually out of this, I actually kind of like Matthew Stafford. That's supposed to be a shootout today. The over-under in that's like 55. I want a piece of that. I do love Jackson Dart's matchup, though, so JT is right on that. But, yeah, you probably already said Stafford. So, yeah, Stafford and Dart for me, yeah.
Crypto Lifebag says, hey, nice to meet you. There we go.
Thank you.
Always welcoming everybody. Let's see here. Droxy523, welcome back. I got Pitts, Hurts, and Devonta Smith, but had to get rid of JT this week before Kyle Pitts balled out. Did I get fleeced? So let me make sure.
Yeah, so he made the trade. He traded away JT and got Hurts, Smith, and Pitts.
Pitts really worked out for you.
If you made that trade, because you had no tight end, you play Kyle Pitts, like you hit the lottery on the 1 week to make the trade. So you got to hope that Hurts and Devontae can get a combo touchdown for you this week in the playoffs would be nice. It always hurts to trade away JT. As a monster JT supporter and fan, I just cannot. I've traded him away like one time ever, I think, and I was kicking myself after I traded him away. So it is a tough one. But I don't think you totally got fleeced. I think that's an okay deal, especially depending on your league scoring. And if you needed QB in one QB league, it can hurt a little bit more. But if you got super flex, I don't think you got totally killed there.
JT, do me a favor. Can you throw up the next question here while I just step out for 1 second?
All right, Charlene needs 2 wide receivers and 2 flex. Jaden Higgins, Sutton, Isavas, Pearsall, Tesla, Darnell Washington, Wall, or Tootin. What do you got here? What do you think? 2 wide receivers and 2 flex. What are you leaning?
Oh man, you got to go. I think you got to go Cortland Sutton as an option, and man, Ricky Pearsall, such a wild card. Tesla. Oh man, this one's actually tough, Charlene. Wow, this is a good question. Definitely Sutton out of these options, and I need another wide receiver. I guess I would gamble with Jaden Higgins as the other one, and then you need 2 flexes as well. I hate flexing out. Is it tight end premium by chance? If not, I got to go Pearsall, and I'll probably take one of these tight ends. Probably Darnell Washington. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but like I've mentioned it before on other shows that Darnell Washington is actually like second in yards on this team, second in catches as well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I would do that, Charlene, if it were me. How about you guys?
Yeah, so on the waiver wire show this past week with Colby and Stacy, I was saying you look at the upcoming matchups for Jaden Higgins, like this is the easiest one it gets in the fantasy playoffs, and it gets precipitously harder as we keep going. So I'd go Jaden Higgins. I would go out of these options, Sutton, the 2 flexes. You said Darnell Washington, and who was your second flex?
I went with Sutton and
you said Sutton, Higgins, wide receiver, and then you said flex Washington. And then you said you'd probably lean one of those other wideouts. We were trying to decide, like, Isavas, Pearsall.
It's gross, but
so I actually, for the second flex option here, which given the options that you're throwing out here, Charlene, we're hoping for upside. I like Tesla just because he is 6'2", 214 or 240. I forget which one it is. Either way, big body target. No more Sam Laporta. We saw when Amon-Ra came back last week, even though he was injured for most of the week, didn't practice, that they still got him involved. Again, one of those end zone targets there for Matthew Stafford, for Jared Goff, in what should be a high scoring game. So
that's true.
Definitely like that there. So
I'm going Higgins, Sutton for the reason he said. Darnell Washington, I know it seems crazy. Tight end premium, you have to play him, but I like him. They're finally figuring out ways to get him the ball, even if it's not great. He's going to get touchdown upside. I like Tesla for the touchdown upside in what might be one of the better games we're going to see as far as like points scored. I like him to possibly get a touchdown, so that's why I like there. I'm going Higgins, Sutton, Tesla, Washington.
There we go. I got G Fresh back on the chat. 1 flex, Gainwell, Hampton, Pearsall, Zay Flowers. For me, it's Omari and Hampton. That is that again. Okay, we're consensus there. Crypto life bags. I'm a Warren owner and I hate Gainwell. Had both on my team. I've been getting it wrong all year with those 2 FML. That's funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. You get it.
I've been in the same boat. I got both of them. Both teams. I've ended up playing them both a ton of times just because I can't make the decision. I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna play them both. So that's what I do a ton of times.
Well, I would lean Gainwell. I mean, like I said, I'm a big Gainwell person this week, just because if you look over the past few weeks, like I was mentioning throughout the show, 6th in team target percentage, like this guy, and you look at the success rate, just great success rate, and so he's utilized in the receiving game, he's utilized within the 10-yard line against a Miami offense that should, for all intents and purposes, put up some decent points here tomorrow night versus Pittsburgh, with no TJ Watt applying pressure. The offensive line for the Dolphins in recent weeks has looked better, so they're going to need to catch up and play points. And so garbage time, I think, leans Gainwell's direction, for those who are interested, for the More You Know segment. So I've been doing the More You Know segments all morning long, Kyle.
Okay.
And I can't say the More You Know without doing the NBC. Yeah, dun, 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 dun. Like, I wish I had that audio queued up, or like a video package ready to just throw up there. But speaking of video packages, it's funny, guys. Every week I'm like putting together a show sheet, and I'm like, man, I wish we could get to the segments we planned, but we have all these start sit questions, and we put the viewers and listeners first when it comes to that. But I just want to play the segment video package, because instead of calling them starts or sits or plays and fades, I like to call them this or that. So just for my own peace of mind,
the choice is yours. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that.
I feel so much better now. Thank you for indulging
Jorge,
me.
that is one of the most underrated songs. I freaking love that song. That song, every time that song comes on, I remember I first heard that song on Living Color when I was like 12 or 13 years old. I wasn't even supposed to be watching that, because my parents had banned Fox back then because it was brand new and all the edgy shows were on Fox. And I heard that song and I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, who is this group? The Black Sheep. It's dude, such a good song.
It's such a 90s song too. You can
it's got that 90s beat, that little vibe, that feel. I love it. It's so good.
We got Jess Ball with Jay in the chat. What's up, Jamie? Good morning.
Morning.
Definitely, if you're not already, go subscribe to his YouTube channel, Just Ballin' with Jay. Head over to his Instagram. We met him at the Fantasy Football Expo this past August. This guy takes football, takes art, puts it together. His designs, his t-shirt designs, all of his designs are fantastic. Definitely get some huge props there. So go follow him on his Instagram and YouTube channel.
Jorge, do you want me to run through news and notes real fast? We got right into the questions. We didn't jump. You want me to read it real quick?
Well, let me hit the music first. 1 second.
Oh, woo! I'm fired up now. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Right? That's what I'm talking about.
The song at Illinois football games and basketball games, like right as everybody's getting going out of the timeout, is always gets everybody fired up. Real quick news and notes here, and we'll get back to the questions. TJ Watt out this week, partially collapsed lung. We already talked about him on Shoot the Gap this week, about he was a very iffy play. If you're going to play him, now you don't have to worry about it. Get him out of your lineup. Marvin Harrison out. Possibly going to IR for the Cardinals. That kills me in a ton of leagues. T. Higgins out with a concussion. So you might want to fire up Mike Gesicki in tight end premium leagues. Alvin Kamara out for the Saints. Devin Neal's my boy. I'm starting Devin Neal everywhere this week. I love him. Philip Rivers, old man Rivers. I don't know if anybody saw this, but on one of the sites, I think it was Underdog, I could be wrong, they posted a picture of Rivers and his over-under stat lines, and it was a picture of Joe Biden. I was dying laughing. It was funny. My girlfriend's son sent it to me. He was dying laughing. He's like, "Did you see this?" I was like, "Oh my God, that's hilarious." So Philip Rivers, after 5 years out of the league, back starting this week for the Colts against the Saints, or against the Seahawks, excuse me. So might want to fire up JT. Need a ton of carries out of him. We'll talk about all show about the rest of the Colts players. Chris Rodriguez, game time decision. Going to be very iffy for people looking at Washington running backs, whether you go with him or not. Pat Bryant also, if you haven't been paying attention, is out for the Broncos. That's what we got right now. I will jump back in if I hear any more news throughout the show.
Thank you. All right, let's get the Mr. Scampers, half PPR. Rodriguez, aforementioned Chris Rodriguez, Jordan Mason at Dallas, or Kyle Manungai versus Cleveland. needless to say, all of us here on the screen, we do a lot of research, for fantasy football, and we also watch a lot of fantasy. We watch a lot of football in general. Obviously, goes hand in hand, as well as just being absorbing individuals. And I'm watching the game last week versus the Packers, and Stacey Perez was insufferable being a Packers fan on the show, on the Waiver Wire Watch Party show last Monday. Anyhow, every time I'm watching the Bears game and Red Zone goes back to it, it's like, Kyle Monangai for another rushing attempt. Kyle Monangai for another rushing attempt. Kyle Monangai. And I'm like, damn, have I been like sleeping on Kyle Monangai from a fantasy perspective? No, I haven't. He actually has not been, a super elite running back. Obviously, DeAndre Swift is still there. But I could have swore with all the times I said Kyle Monangai that he would be the guy. That being the case, I love Rodriguez if he plays. If he doesn't, given the matchup, I may say Jordan. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to say Monangai.
Jorge, to break it down for you, excuse me, last 6 games for Monangai, averaging 15.5 carries per game in the last
That's
6.
pretty good.
He also has 4 touchdowns in the last 5 games. I'm firing up Monangai. I think the Bears are going to go back to what they did a couple weeks ago against Philly, where they pounded the rock the whole game. Swift got a ton of carries. So did Monangai. I'm on Monangai this week. He has not seen less than 12 carries. He's only seen less than 12 carries in one game in the last 6 weeks. And like I said, he has been the goal line back in what should be a low-scoring, hard-fought game. I think Monangai gets the goal line carries. I think he has a chance to pop one into the end zone. I'm going with him today.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Going back to his rushing attempts since week 12, he is the RB10 with 48. That's kind of hard to ignore, especially after last week's performance. Kyle, what do you think here?
Yeah, definitely. I think they both got 18 apiece, to your point, JT, Swift and Monangai in that game. I think it continues here. And you know what? The Cleveland Browns have, they started out the year a great run defense, but they're kind of giving up some yards here as of late on the ground. And I think you said it earlier in the show, JT, that it's going to be just a slugfest in that game. And they're going to run the football as much as they can. And I want a piece of that if they're going to do that.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So going back, looking over the past 4 weeks, the Browns, 5th most fantasy points allowed to the running back position. So I think we have ourselves a winner chicken dinner.
And I think that's
earlier,
where
Jorge, that you don't care about October. You care about what's happened recently. So,
right.
And there you go. There you have it.
And the Bears on this win streak, they've gone on this win streak because they've been pounding the rock. They've not asked Kyle Williams to throw the ball 35, 40, 45 times a game, and they've realized that's success for them. Run the ball, play action with him. Don't make him make a million plays. Let him just find guys open and let his players, catch the ball and get yak and run the ball. That's what the Bears are going to do. That's what they've had success doing. I don't think they change that, especially with the horrible weather today. Man, this game, I'm telling you, it's going to be fun to watch, but I think it's going to be a beat-down, drag-out fight. And I think if I'm the Bears, there's no way I want to give Myles Garrett a million shots at Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
I do not want him throwing the ball a lot if I can help it.
All right. Let's get into another question here. We uncheck a few things here, uncheck a few things there, and then check this one here. Half PPR, Chuba at New Orleans, Vidal versus Kansas City, or Monangai in Cleveland. Again, it's Monangai, right? I mean, it's the matchup is just too good, right? Am I crazy here?
No, and I do think that I like Vidal, of course, but that Kansas City matchup's not nice. And I do think that Marion Hampton's going to get a little bit more run than he did last week. They're going to slowly ramp him up, slowly phasing Vidal out. So I would go Monangai.
All right, let's get to Jamie's question here. Sorry, I skipped over it. Aronde Gadsden, Hawkinson, or Corum, no tight end premium. It's Corum for me. I get it's a difficult matchup here, but actually, it's not so much of a difficult matchup as it is the volume, the opportunity. Like you put those two together, we're seeing more of a split backfield in Los Angeles. So you're nodding in approval, yes, Kyle, in this situation?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's actually, even with Kyron Williams in, he's getting like 10 to 13 touches a game. I'm going to take that.
All right. JT, this one I'm throwing it to you next. We got Altube01, start 3 full PPR. Debo, McLaurin, Monungai, Monty, Ladd, Tyrone, Tracy.
Definitely starting Terry McLaurin this week. Got to go him. Man, Ladd, this passing game has not been great. I can't. It's so hard to sit him though in this spot. I would just be kicking myself. So I'm probably going Terry and Ladd. Man, I'm usually a Monty guy. I love Monty, but I think Monungai's the new Monty. He's like the new, like, oh, get a chance, get a goal line touch. So I'm probably gonna, if it was me, I'm going Terry, Monungai, and Ladd here.
So to your point, as far as the passing game for the Chargers has just been weird. If I had to, let's play the guessing game. Let's go around the frames here real quickly. Which wide receiver position, and no cheating, which number in terms of like wide receiver this, wide receiver that, do you think Ladd McConkey is in targets since week 12?
I would safely say wide receiver 2. Or wait, do you mean like rank?
Are you
like
talking
one?
about on his team or are you talking about in the league?
In the league.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
he's
so-
got to be in like the 40s somewhere, right? 45?
That's probably a safe.
Wow,
guess.
you guys are really good. That's close. 49. Tied for 49. So yeah.
It's just all those options that Herbert has. He just has a ton of options.
The problem has been the tackles with all the injuries, the O-line, they're just not having time to get the ball downfield to Ladd. Because if you watch the Chargers, when Ladd is really good, it's when he's running all the way across the field, doing drag routes and stuff where he can get his speed up, hit him once he clears everybody, and then he catches and turns the corner. That's when he's been really good in his career. And Herbert just doesn't have the time to throw right now. And it's really hurting a lot of what they do play action wise, down the field wise, because not a lot of those guys are like just dink and dunk, like direct. They run some of the fewest amount of like direct passes unless it's to Quentin Johnson. Like they just don't run a lot of that short stuff. And so it's just been hurting them with no time to throw.
All right. JT, can you throw up the next question here on the?
Yeah, this is a toughie, man. Lamar Jackson or Drake May?
Man,
I mean, Lamar has just been murdering you. I mean, at least me. He's been just killing me the last couple of weeks. Drake May has been really good, but you got the matchup with Lamar this week against the Bengals. You're like, if you ever thought like, hey, what could be a high scoring game and who could put up some points? You think Lamar? If you would say earlier, Lamar versus the Bengals, you're like, Lamar, 100%, like no questions asked. But this is a very close matchup. Drake May versus Buffalo. That's going to be I think that's going to be a battle with the Bills and the Pats. It's hard to sit Drake May. What do you guys think here? I mean, I am torn. I've got both these guys on a lot of spots.
Yeah.
Is there one more? Is one safer? Is one higher upside play? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the upside play is Lamar Jackson. He didn't have a great game against Cincinnati last time they played. He finished quarterback 27. I mean, it was awful. What are the chances of Lamar Jackson having another bad game against this Cincinnati defense, right? But Drake May he's been the more consistent one all season. He's proven it. He's safer. 4 straight games of 270 yards passing for Drake May, I think I read before. But to answer the question, in a fantasy playoff round 1 game, you've got Lamar Jackson, you've got Drake May. What do you do? Oh, I think I would just go with Drake May in this. I feel better about myself going with Drake May. It's crazy to say because Lamar Jackson has been that tier in the quarterbacks for years. But in this case, this season, from what I've seen, I'm going Drake May.
I 100% co-sign that. And for those of you who are like, oh, well, if I don't start Lamar and he goes off and I'm eliminated, I'm going to be kicking myself. No, you're not. You know why? Because what has he done to earn that this year? We're not talking about last year. We're not talking about 2 years ago. We're not talking about that Lamar Jackson for fantasy. As far as I'm concerned, it's a very much what have you done for me lately situation. And Drake May has been nothing but consistent all year long. So
yeah, Drake May, if you want to look at it for Fantasy Pro scoring, he's been top 12, which means he's a QB1 4 straight weeks, where Lamar, outside of last week against Pittsburgh, where he was QB7, Lamar previous 4 weeks before that, QB27, QB25, QB29, QB15. So he basically, outside of last week, Lamar last week was the only week that he outscored Drake May.
Yeah. All right, let's go here. We got a serious question here. Love this from John McGlynn over on X. Game day dilemma. Should I start? Should I start with Jameson? What is that? 002?
He's saying Jameson and ginger ale Guinness with Jameson as a sidecar. So he's like, do I just go right to the Jameson and ginger ale, or do I drink a Guinness, sip on the Guinness with a Jameson as the sidecar of the shot? I've been in too many situations where I start doing shots with John, so I'm going the Jameson and the ginger ale. Just start it off easy. Start hammering the shots. I know John, once he gets one Jameson shot, there's no end in sight. It's Jameson shots every 5 minutes for the rest of the day.
And he can handle it, right? I know John.
John can handle it. I cannot is the problem. So then John looks over at me. He's like, dude, are you okay? I'm like, no, I can't take this many shots. I can't take 5 shots in 20 minutes. What do you think I
So he's just getting started.
Yeah, John, just go easy. Just do Jameson ginger ale right off the bat. Just sip it away. You can jump into the JMO shots later in the day.
As somebody who can down Guinness like it's water all year round, I don't care if it's like sticky, hot, humid, August. Give me a nice cool or room temperature Guinness after you get it out of the tap. You know what? I don't know if it's PC to even say anymore that they call these drinks car bombs, but I'm going to keep calling them car bombs. You have fun there, John. You get yourself some car bombs here and just
I'm sure we'll see it
later. Quick story for you, just to jump in there. We used to have these big 34-ounce mugs at my bar.
Ooh,
and we had a buddy, my buddy Jay, rest in peace, has passed away about 10 years ago. But man, he would challenge people to these car bomb chugging contests where I would fill up the 34-ounce mug with about 30 ounces of Guinness, and then I would take 2 gigantic Baileys and JMO shot glasses and dump them in, and then they would race and chug them. These are obviously in the younger years, people. But they would chug them in. I tell you what, I would have been just puking all over myself. But man, those guys, I saw some people chug some of those things faster than you could imagine. I couldn't believe it. And then what made me think of that, I was like, I would love to see John in a chugging contest with my buddy Jay from back in the day. That would have been wild. Those 2 very similar type of dudes. Love both of them. But that would have been a hell of a contest.
So John and I were actually going to have a Guinness chugging competition at the expo last year, but he conveniently got a back problem and couldn't attend conveniently. And, we get to talking about Baileys and things to mix with your Guinness. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I could just go like this and grab this off my shelf because it's kind of, I don't know if that's telling or if not. But you want to talk about Baileys with Guinness. I got this chocolate Baileys that makes car bombs taste even better. So for those of you who are out there, yes, there is a Baileys Irish Cream chocolate version. You mix that with your Guinness. It is pretty freaking sweet. So yes, John, that is the all important question. Sorry. Everybody else, hope you gained something from that though. The more you know. Jamie Parag, Quinton Williams or Jonathan Cooper. That's hanging with Mr. Cooper for those who get that from back in the day. Let me see here real quickly. Defensive ends. Man, Green Bay is tough against defensive ends. I would probably trust Benito over Cooper, but defensive tackles are just so hard to go with, especially in non-defensive tackle starting leagues like your regular DL, LB, DB. So I'd still go with Cooper, but I'd be tempering my expectations. Let's see here. Crypto Life Bags. I love this comment. I'm so glad I found this show while you all are still smaller and growing. If you guys ever need help, I'd love to help out next year. I help for free. Man, you just said all the right words, man. At Jorge B. Edwards on Twitter, or you can find me. And this goes for everybody else. If you have fantasy football questions you want answered and you're not on Twitter, Jorge, Jorge, at fantasyinframes.com. Shoot me an email. Definitely always around to answer. And Crypto Life Bags. We'll let's talk. Just balling with Jay. Thank you. Okay, we got Ronnie in the chat. Ronnie Daniel 5383. Morning, fellas. Need to start one IDP question. Foyesade, Luakun, Bobby Okereke, Bobby Wagner. Give me Okereke. I love Okereke. Bobby Wagner has been a liability in coverage, which means you're not getting the tackles in coverage. Okereke has been playing lights out the past few weeks. So I get it. Oluokun has the name value, and he should get plenty of work with the Jets, emphasizing the running game with Breece Hall. But again, Okereke, the production has been there, so I'm trusting his production this week. What about you, JT?
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you there. I think you're going to see, no matter who's playing running back for Washington, I think you're going to see dump offs, you're going to see crossing. I think he's got the best tackle floor there. I like Karake here today.
Can you throw up the next question if you don't mind?
Yeah, the next one we got here is. Oh, we had a comment we've had from Just Balling with Jay. So last week I didn't listen to you guys, and I played my nun guy over Corum. Corum got 33 on my bench. Those are the worst. That always hurts. Appreciate it. Next question up here. Good morning, Travion Henderson or Christian Watson in the flex. A standard league question, which is Jorge's favorites.
Yes.
Jorge.
Yes. Travion Henderson and Christian Watson in the flex. Give me Travion Henderson. I know Christian Watson. I know in non-PPR or standard, as they are the standard. Boomer bust. Obviously, what you look for in standard or non-PPR leagues are yardage and touchdowns, and Christian Watson has been putting up yards. It's just the matchup versus the secondary here for Denver is a little concerning. I don't think you can go wrong in either situation. Obviously, the Ramondre taking away touches here, and there's no upside for receptions. But Travion Henderson has been playing very well, has been super efficient with the ball in his hands. This should be a very highly competitive game versus the Bills. So I could definitely see the scoring being in its favor. The over-under is 49. I believe, if I'm just quickly scrolling through the rest of the games here, it is the highest over. Nope, Detroit, LA is the highest. But second is Buffalo, New England. So give me Travion, but I can understand the allure of Christian Watson. What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, definitely. I would go Travion, because, earlier in the season, it was Ramondre Stevenson, clear as day down on the goal line. But lately, Travion's been getting a little bit more work down there. So I think they lean on that a little bit more. I'll go Travion Henderson here. I feel like Christian Watson is just a roll of the dice in the standard league. Like, he either scores or he doesn't. And I feel like the safer play in a playoff game would be Travion Henderson in this case.
All right. JT, can you
I like Henderson too. There. This is a really interesting question. Guys thinking ahead here. So he's already got his lineup pretty much set. He's ready to go, looking to figure out what to do for week 16 and 17 with his defense. Has the Saints, Rams, and Tampa Bay. Wants to drop one of those defenses and stash another player. I think that's a great move. Who does he drop? I think you keep the Rams. The Rams have been fantastic this year. So the question becomes Saints or Tampa. Saints have the Jets next week, and then Tennessee the week after Tampa Bay. So the Saints are real intriguing. He says he's thinking about dropping Tampa. The next two games are Carolina, Miami. So very close. I think I'm dropping Tampa, especially with the injuries piling up for them. I think I'm dropping Tampa. I think they're going to be in a few more shootouts. I like Rams, Saints down the stretch.
100% agree with that. Okay, let's get to our next question. We got Mr. Scampers. Thanks as always for the insight, fellas. Absolutely. We got Frosty 126, Rico Dowdle, Christian Watson, or Brian Thomas Jr. Sit one. Man, oh man, without any context, my initial thought here is BTJ.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh man, it hurts to sit him, but I think I'm sitting here in a lot of leagues. It just hasn't been there. You think if the Jags get up, they're not going to be throwing the ball a ton. I love BTJ. He's still future. You want to have him. Rico is the one that's just I'm starting Watson for sure. Rico's the one you're like, because with the Chuba, the back and forth with them is very frustrating, but you can see them both getting some decent amount of carries. Probably BTJ for me, but man, that hurts.
All right, Crypto Life Bags with the comment or the question: Monangai or Warren half PPR? That's also an acceptable scoring format. That's all right. I'm taking digs at you, PPR people. Deal with it. Monangai or Warren? Kyle, what are your thoughts here?
Man, that's actually really close for me. Oh man, I think I would actually. I kind of want to go Jalen Warren in this. I feel like
Jalen Warren. I completely. I was thinking
Are you thinking Tyler Warren?
Yeah, I was thinking Tyler Warren.
No, I think he means Jalen Warren because I'm in the same boat here with Monangai, Warren, Neal, Marks. I've have a bunch of those guys across, and I'm trying to figure out which guy I want to go. I usually am a play Jalen Warren all the time guy, but I have to be honest. I'm a little nervous this week to play him. Yeah. I'm looking at some other options. I do Kyle, what do you think? I think this is real close. I think touchdown upside Monangai, but in half PPR, Warren has a better chance to catch passes, though he used to kind of be the receiving guy for the Steelers, and that's really turned into Kenny Gainwell.
So you look at team target percentage for the running backs for the Steelers. Since week 12, Kenneth Gainwell 15.7%, Jalen Warren only 6.7%. So, Monangai I think is the call here. We got KL Sonneberg. What's up, Ken? I got a question here in the YouTube chat. Do I start Ferguson despite his calf injury, or do I protect myself from possible re-injury and start Dawson Knox versus New England? This is a great question. You asked me on Friday, and I feel like I answered it. But you know what? I can understand you be giving me some skepticism as one of my closest friends. So, Kyle, why don't you answer Ken's question here for who would we be rolling with this week?
If Jake Ferguson's a go, I'm going Jake Ferguson. For me, I can't trust Dawson Knox in the lineup now with Dalton Kincaid back. I know he did great last week. I think he scored 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown. I know he scored, Dawson Knox.
He had 96 yards. I don't know if he got the touchdown. I need to double check. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.
But even still, it doesn't matter because I can't trust that with Dalton Kincaid back in that lineup. I would go Jake Ferguson as the every down tight end.
Knox had 6 catches, 93 yards, 0 touchdowns last week. Actually, he's only got 1 on the season.
Interesting.
And last week was the first double-digit scoring game for half PPR that he's had all year long.
That's right. I think Jackson Haas scored for the Bills. It was a heavy tight end week, though.
Yeah, it was a rookie. Yeah, it was the rookie that scored.
Okay, let's go to our next question here from Charlene. Goff or May? This is a great question. I'm chasing the points with Goff.
You are.
I am 100% chasing the points with Goff here.
Revenge game.
It's always going to be a revenge game versus Matthew Stafford in the Rams for Jared Goff. But Drake May, again, situation, ceiling, floor. But these are high ceilings, high floors for both of these guys. So I'm going to go Goff. I'm leaning Goff here. What about you, JT?
God, that one's so tough. If you have any kind of running premium for your quarterback, you'd rather have May. The one thing, and I hate to say this, and I feel like I talk about all the time, the running upside for May I like better, but we're in LA in the Dome. We're going to get good weather. We're not playing in New England. It seems crazy, but right now I usually am not a big weather guy, but the weather has been really bad here recently in some areas. So it's I almost feel like I prefer to take the game that I know is going to be good weather with a chance of high scoring. So probably Goff, but I can't believe I'm saying that. But it's Goff weather dependent because I think he has a better floor. May, it could get ugly out there, but I still do like May. If there's any kind of rush, if you have a league where a rush touchdown is 9 or 10 instead of 6 for a QB, or you get bonus rushing yards, then I'm playing May. And I'm in a lot of leagues like that. That's why I bring it up. If there's any kind of bonus rushing, I'm going May. But if not, I think Goff is the real safe play as far as there could be a higher scoring offensive game out there in LA.
All right, let's get to the next comment here. I like this question here. I like all your questions, first of all, but I like this one just because of the matchup, given the fact that it's against my Commanders, and obviously I'm biased to a certain degree. Although I try to keep my bias out of obviously advice. Thoughts on Giants offense versus this matchup? Should consider anybody picking up Giants players for the matchup. Slayton, Singletary, Theo Johnson are the examples he's given. Not so. If I'm looking at points allowed since week 11. The tight end position, I believe top 10, if not top 5, versus tight ends in terms of points allowed. The running back position, they are the Commanders that is 6th highest in points allowed. The only area of the field where apparently Washington has been doing okay in this past month has been versus the receivers. As we saw last week, no Justin Jefferson, no Jordan Addison, but the tight ends were having tons of fun. That's a similar scenario here. So Devin Singletary would be the odd man out here. G-Fresh 13 for me. Anybody disagree?
You got to go get Theo. If Theo Johnson's out there and available, you can pick him up and play him. I'm playing Theo Johnson all day long today. So yeah, go grab him. The only thing I'm a Singletary guy. I like him. My only worry is Tyrone Tracy back this week. I don't know how much that's going to cut into his workload there. So that's got me a little nervous. But Theo Johnson, to me, is a smash pickup and play this week.
Yeah, I feel safer with Theo because, like you said, JT, you don't know if it's going to be Tracy or Singletary. It's probably going to be one of those. We'd love to hear this, right? Ride the hot hand there. So it's throw the dice. You don't know if he's going to be the hot hand or if Tracy Jr. is going to be the hot hand. So Theo's going to get the targets. I like Theo.
There we go. Let's go to our next question here from Brady. Brady Harrell -N8E. Man, YouTube, you got to get it together with these usernames. This is it's definitely getting creative here. Pick 3, full PPR. Boo, full PPR. Addison, Pierce, Slayton, Mitchell, Likely. Thanks, fellas. So for me, it would be Addison, Likely.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go.
Which Mitchell are we thinking this is?
I think it's Adonai Mitchell.
I'm guessing this is AD Mitchell for the Jets.
Okay.
Yeah,
man, any other week that's a Pierce smash play, but I'm so nervous with Rivers this week and Pierce being the deep guy. Addison and Likely for me smash play those guys.
Yeah.
Man, Mitchell and Pierce are both more long ball guys. And I love Brady Cook, but he's not the best long ball thrower. Man, Pierce, I'm so nervous to play him anywhere with Rivers this week. Maybe I go upside of Mitchell. I don't know, man. That one is rough. That third guy is rough.
The Seahawks secondary has finally gotten healthy. Julian Love is back. Evan Worry is a stud. Devin Witherspoon
is back playing high quality football as well. I'm nervous to play any Colts wide receiver this week, to be honest with you. I'd probably take the upside at Mitchell, maybe breaks one. And usually that's Pierce is the guy I'm saying that about, but I'd probably maybe go upside of Mitchell.
What about you, Kyle?
I think I'm there with y'all. Mitchell had a goose egg last week, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if he does that again, so I'll go with Mitchell. Same too.
They just don't have anybody. I mean, no Mason Taylor again. Like I could see Brady Cook having to force feed Mitchell targets.
Yeah,
I think Mitchell and Mechie are like literally the only two guys they have. Like that's it. Like I mean, if you go look at some different formats, I mean, Jeremy Ruckert actually has is predicted or projected for like an actual okay game, which is pretty crazy. Like that's how desperate the Jets are right now.
All right, JT, can you throw up the next question real quickly while I look up something for this question?
We'll throw out hot chocolate with the Baileys. John says he's had it. He says they had it at the St. Patrick's Day party last year. He says game changer. Chocolate Baileys is the game changer. Per John McGlynn, so you know that's a win when Jorge and John agree on that. They're all about it. Mr. Scamper said, damn, I'll have to find that Bailey's, chocolate Bailey's as well. Yes, when you get these guys giving you the thumbs up, you gotta jump in and try that out. Actually, we just did at the Forest Preserve next to my house. They had a little walk through the woods, and everything and look at the trees and all the lights this weekend. And my girlfriend did the bartending at the thing, and she bought the chocolate Baileys with the peppermint. Peppermint.
Oh.
Put it in the hot chocolate to walk around, a little boozy hot chocolate to look at the lights. Awesome. Totally makes everything a lot more fun outside in the cold when you got the boozy chocolate with you. So next one on top of that, would I be crazy to roll out Flournoy instead of Watson tonight? This is my best. Like, this is from Crypto. Again, man, Flournay's has some good ones. I don't know if I can pull the trigger on Flournoy over Watson, especially going against the Vikings. I love the idea of it, but I think I got to stick with Watson. What do you guys think?
Had CeeDee Lamb still been out with the concussion, I would say yes to that. But with him being back and Pickens being there too as well, and I can't. Yes, Flournoy had a great game with CeeDee Lamb out. Now he's back in. I got to go Christian Watson. I can't do it.
Whenever George Pickens throws his little tantrums and everybody loves him, then everybody hates him. He always seems to come back and play well once everybody's talked trash about him again. So it's like I feel like it could be a nice George Pickens week as well.
Yeah, it could be.
So Aiden Weingartner, he was the host of Dynasty 365 and does our waiver wire article. He was talking about Flournoy that it's 100% contingent on CeeDee Lamb's health for the week. But I was not aware until I read his article, which you all should be doing weekly, which will be coming out on Tuesdays or Monday nights, but promoted on Tuesdays. He, meaning Flournoy, last week had a 27.7% target share. That is 13th highest amongst all wide receivers. So if CeeDee Lamb goes out for your fantasy playoffs, he is a priority add, I believe, here for you. And in fact, if you have bench space, if you are not the CeeDee Lamb manager, get him. That way the CeeDee Lamb manager has no one to turn to off the waiver wire. So just keep that in mind. Let's go to Nikki Banks. What's up, Nikki? Thank you for being patient. Tyrone Chasey or Jake Ferguson, tight end premium. Jake Ferguson, please. So thank you very much for the question. Did I just say that? Did I just say Fergie?
Yes, you did. Jorge, this is a great question right here. Just balling with Jay said, I had a dream last night. Zaire Franklin had a 90-yard interception return for a touchdown. Should I play him over Roquan? And I have to tell you, last week, and I'm hoping that I'm not jinxing you right now, just balling with Jay. Last week, I had a dream. I woke up so happy. I had a dream that the Colts beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and I was yelling at everyone. I said, I take back everything terrible I ever said about Danny Dimes. Tore his Achilles that morning, that right after I woke up dreaming that. So I'm hoping that same thing doesn't happen to Zaire Franklin. It doesn't totally screw the Colts. I hope he gets a 90-yard interception return for a touchdown, but I just wanted to tell you I had a Colts dream last week, and it ended in horror where now Philip Rivers is starting this week.
Ugh.
Yeah, I would play, though, to answer his question, I would play Zaire over what did he say?
He said Roquan Smith.
It's hard, but like the Bengals can get you from so many different angles. They may either run at Roquan or run away from Roquan. Yeah, so those are my thoughts here with that.
I could see playing Franklin over Roquan, honestly. Franklin's been getting tackles everywhere lately, and again, you're going to see, I think if the Bengals keep in this game, they're going to be throwing the ball everywhere, which means Roquan's not going to be as much in the mix. So I have no problem starting Franklin over Roquan this week.
I mean, since week 12, using Fantasy Pro scoring, Zaire Franklin is the LB12. Let me keep scrolling. Let me Control F, Roquan. Okay, LB24. So that should tell you a little bit as far as where the drop-off is going there, especially with the tackles more balanced, 13 and 19 solo to assist. For Roquan, we go to Zaire Franklin, leaning heavily more towards the assisted tackle side, but I think the volume running the ball is going to be there for Zaire. So, yep, okay. Let's go to the next one. Bishop, what does it say? Billy Bishop Nelson. I like that name. That's good. I need three: Monungai, Devon Neal, Waddle, T-Mac, or Rico. That's Uncle Rico, half PPR. Yes, that was a Napoleon Dynamite reference. Kyle, have you seen Napoleon Dynamite? Did you see that back in the day?
I did actually watch a little bit of that. Yeah.
A little bit of
Actually,
that.
yeah. Well, I think I've watched it, but I can't remember details, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. Okay,
You got to go back and watch it again. It's pretty hilarious.
it's pretty. It's one of those, like, you feel awkward watching it because you have probably found yourself in that situation where you've done something similar and felt awkward. So it's a lot of awkward parallels.
A lot of awkward characters too. A lot of awkward characters makes it even more awkward, but it's still pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. So I'd go Manungai. I would go Waddle, and I like Devin Neal this week. I got to be honest with you. Anybody disagree and have other opinions?
I'm Waddle Neal for sure, man.
Oh, is that Trey McBride? Is that what T-Mac stands for?
I'm guessing he's saying T-Mac. I'm guessing he's being Tetaroa McMillan.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I was thinking
I'm
Ted.
probably going Ted. Though
yeah,
I hear he hates going by Ted. He wants to be called T-Mac.
Tetaroa,
as an old school Tracy McGrady guy, as T-Mac, it throws me off when people call him.
Is it crazy? That's what I thought when I first read that.
I always think of Tracy McGrady.
Tracy McGrady's
I always think of Tracy McGrady. So I'm probably going McMillan, Waddle, Neal. I do like Manungai, so like I said, I have like that, but I like Neal because I think he gets more touches this week. And then I like Waddle's upside and McMillan. So I'm going those three guys.
I'm with you as well, JT. All right, now that you know that it's T-Mac, are you changing it up?
Yes. I would take Manungai. I would roll exactly how you guys are saying. T-Mac, Waddle, and Neal. All right, let's go here to Mac G381. Pick 2, I have Ladd, Stephon Diggs, Tetaroa, McMillan, DK, AJ Brown, full PPR. Give me Diggs, give me Tetaroa, and give me Ladd McConkey this week. Even though Ladd is the wide receiver 49 in targets, this is a situation. I need to look up where he had his success in targets versus the Chiefs. But yeah, that's who I'd roll with real quickly. Guys, why don't you go around the frames, and Kyle, why don't you start us off with
picking 2 here, right?
I'm sorry. Pick 2. Tetaroa and Stephon Diggs. My bad. Sorry.
I'm going to roll with my boy, AJ Brown. I've been rolling with him all season. I'm going to go AJ Brown and man, Stephon Diggs is very tempting because he's on a heavy incentive contract this year and he's getting close to those. So I feel like Drake May is going to be looking at him a lot towards the end of the stretch of this season, but I can't sit Tetaroa. So I'm going to go McMillan and AJ Brown for the 2 wide receivers here.
And JT?
Yeah, you feel like Diggs with everything that's been going on is going against the Bills. But he's only seen 7 targets in the last 2 games. Only has 5 catches for 46 yards after that big game against the Jets, where he had 9 catches for 105 yards. He did have 3 straight games with a touchdown before that, but he is not seeing a ton of targets. Maybe he does this week. To me, that's a little bit iffy. AJ Brown's been on a tear. It's hard not to take him, even though I don't think the Eagles throw a ton, but I think he has the biggest chance to have a long one. I love Ladd, but man, I'm feeling like I got to sit Ladd in a lot of spots if I have anybody better. I'm going McMillan, and I'm going AJ Brown.
All right. Crypto life bags. I think Coker is a sleeper today. My teams have been decimated with injury. This is my worst year. Let me tell you, injuries, they just keep compiling and compiling. And it's not going to get any better, folks, because they're going to throw in another football game every year. Every couple of years, they're going to keep adding and adding. And this is a situation where bench depth, if you have an opportunity this offseason, talk to your commish and say, I like to increase our bench roster numbers, because that's starting to become even more important, so to speak, than just IR spots, if we're being honest here. So definitely feel you there. He also says chocolate Baileys. Yep. Absolutely. Got to roll with the chocolate Baileys. We got a super chat. Thank you very much. Just following with Jay. I'm sorry, JT. Daniel, 10 cents injury. It was my fault. I shared my concern about his health on last week's show. That is, yeah. You're the reason. You're the reason.
I was just finally starting to believe that's what happened. As a Colts fan, I was starting to believe that we could get it done with him. I was like, man, I was just holding off. Even when they get off to the great start, I'm like, he's playing good. But I'm like, do I believe him? I did. As soon as I started to believe, that's when he just gut punched me. Took out my Achilles, slashed my Achilles, just like, brutal. So brutal. Man, I really wish Riley Leonard was healthy because I kind of think Riley Leonard is sneaky good. I know a lot of people probably didn't watch him in college, but there was a while there when he was at Duke where people were considering him a possible first-round draft pick. Transferred to Notre Dame. They didn't have a very good passing game, and he really kind of just ran the ball a ton there, so he didn't get a lot of looks as far as the pro level. But I think Leonard's like, as far as running, he's a poor man, Anthony Richardson, but he's actually got a pretty decent arm. I thought he played okay coming off the bench, so I was disappointed to see he got a knee injury, and then they went and got Rivers, because I would have liked to see what Riley Leonard had this week against the Seahawks.
I totally agree, JT. I watched the John Gruden camp when they had Riley Leonard on it, and I recommend watching that, man. That show is just phenomenal. And that episode in particular with Riley Leonard made me a huge fan of the kid. I was like, I want to root for this kid. I mean, he wants to win. He wants to do it. He's got the drive. I wish that's probably why they brought in Phillip Rivers too, right? The injury, they're probably not 100%, because if he was healthy, I don't think they would have brought Phillip Rivers in.
I think so too. I think if he was healthy and could go, I don't think they would have gone with Rivers. I just thought he was if you were going to go the Anthony Richardson route, I thought Riley Leonard was the perfect backup quarterback to get, because he first off, he has, I think, 100 career more starts than Anthony Richardson in college, like a crazy amount more starts. He actually is older than Anthony Richardson. And so I thought he was like a perfect example of a guy that could play the same system as Anthony Richardson. He obviously doesn't have the cannon that Anthony Richardson has, and he's not as fast as Richardson, but he's a very solid runner. So I was like, man, at least they could run the same offense if Richardson gets hurt. So I love the pick. Everyone I know who's an Indy fan, of course, loved it because they're Notre Dame fans as well. So they were loving the fact that Riley Leonard got brought on. So I really hope he gets a chance to get back and play. But we'll see how this Rivers situation works out. Maybe if he gets healthy, maybe they do bring Leonard back in, or maybe they say screw it and they ride with Rivers the rest of the way. That has me very nervous, though.
But seriously, Just Jay, thank you very much for the donation. It means a lot to help us keep producing content, and you'd be surprised how much a little goes a long way. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it. And happy holidays to you and yours. Let's see here. Steven in the chat here. Hello, I need help with one of my running back spots and 2 flex spots in a full PPR. Devin Neal, Addison, Rico Daddle, Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, Lad McConkey. Kyle, why don't you start us off with this one and we'll go around the frames.
Yeah, I'm like you, JT. I'm big on Devin Neal. I'm gonna go Devin Neal. He's gonna get the volume. You know, he's in the passing game as well. So love that in full PPR. I know he only caught 1 ball last week, but he's active is the whole point. I mean, I think I saw 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Devin Neal has run more routes out of the running back spot than any other running back. I don't know what he did last week, but I know 2 weeks prior, he was the RB1 in routes for running back. So I love that because he's active. So Devin Neal for me for sure. Got to go Jordan Addison in a wide receiver spot. And then I got 1 more to pick from between Dowdle, Hall, Walker, McConkey. I will go, man, that's where it gets tricky, but I think I'll go Rico Dowdle.
Right.
But I'll cringe when I say it.
I think it's Neal for sure at RB, Addison at wide receiver, just because of the matchup. He's going to have a shot. Man, that other one, that's like the most murky group ever.
Yeah. I could see Brees Hall, though.
Yeah, I'm probably going Brees Hall, that I'm hoping, because they don't have anybody else, that he just gets peppered with like little dump off passes. I can see Brees Hall literally getting 10 catches for like 52 yards this week.
He twisted my arm. I'll go Brees.
Just getting like 2 and 3. It's like 3rd and 10, and you just see nothing on 3rd and 10. Brees Hall getting 3-yard receptions on 3rd and 10. So I'm probably going Brees Hall just for that reason. If it's PPR for running back, is because I think there's a chance he gets on. And like you said about Devin Neal, I just think he gets touches. I think they're going to realize Shuck's just been missing him, He's been open out of the backfield. He just hasn't been finding him. I think they get him a little more involved in the passing game. And if all he needs is like 3 or 4 catches, and if he gets 18, 20 carries, which I think is legit, you can get 25 touches out of Devin Neal this weekend. If he pops one in the end zone, boom. I mean, he can win you a week.
Yep.
So I know the back and forth Chuba Rico discussion, exists, but scrolling through the good old Schefter timeline, which there is some news I like to discuss. Did you know that the Carolina Panthers can clinch the NFC South if they beat the Saints and the Bucks next week? That's a rhetorical question. Of course you did. But here's the thing. If that's the case and you're Carolina, are you really going to make both of these running backs cancel each other out in terms of what they do on the field? I think they unleash all their weapons, unleash the Kraken, and unleash everybody to have big weeks here versus New Orleans. So I think I'm with you on Neal, Addison, but I think I'm going Dowdle over Hall this week. That would be my call there. JT, can you throw up the IDP question? I think we missed one.
Yep. Tootsie, thanks for joining us again. She says, Kobe Turner or Harold Landry at DN this week for IDP.
Man, let me pull up here. Thank you for being patient. So the Buffalo Bills have allowed the 5th most fantasy points to the edge position. Harold Landry, started off strong, then he cooled off a little bit. But I do let me pull up one more thing really quickly just before I give any.
I am playing Kobe Turner in some spots if that makes you feel any better. So I do have Kobe Turner going in a couple spots on the D line. He's been solid, not spectacular, but he's been solid, decent pressure numbers. And I think, I know he's got at least one. I know he's got at least 1 sack in the last 2 weeks. So he has been getting a little bit of pressure. Obviously, he's the 3rd guy there for them, but I do like him. I think this is a pretty close call, to be honest with you. But I do like him as well. So,
all right, yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you right there. Okay, let's go to our next question. JT, can you throw that up there real quickly?
We did that. Hold on here. I'll find it. I just did the other one. Oh, no. I think we're caught up on questions at the moment, Jorge.
Nice. Okay. Well, folks, if you're still watching, which obviously you are, we can see the ticker on the screen with how many of you are watching. So clearly we are not completely boring you this morning. I mean, we're talking about Guinness and chocolate Baileys. If anything else, you're getting a good information on the mixed drinks thing. Oh yeah. So one of the news and notes I wanted to bring up here. So Josh Jacobs, dealing with the knee injuries, has been dealing with it for the past few weeks. It flared up this past week. There's a lot of question marks. Do we go get, what's going to happen? Is he going to play? Should we go on our waivers if he's still available and get Emmanuel 1M Wilson? Or as Nate likes to call him, Eugene, because he always forgets his name is Emmanuel. He's like, E. Wilson. You mean Eugene Wilson? I'm like, no, not even. But then I say Emmanuel, but I always assume Emmanuel has 2 M's in it, and this guy only has 1, so that's why I call him Emmanuel 1M Wilson. Anyhow, it looks like Jacobs is expected to play versus the Broncos, and Emmanuel 1M Wilson, apparently this was reported 12 hours ago, that is listed as questionable due to the illness. He showed up to the training facility with the virus, was sent home and given medication, and the team will hope that he feels well later on today. They actually activated somebody off of the practice squad, so I don't know if that was a call for Jacobs. I don't know if that was a call for Wilson. It may sound like that's now a call for Wilson given the illness information, and I'm going to ask JT this because Kyle doesn't need any Scott Fishbowl help because he is ranking ahead of us Fantasy and Framers, which we still have a good contingent of the Fantasy and Frames family and Scott Fishbowl 15, yours included. So JT, Josh Jacobs is my RB1 on that team. Obviously, to keep up with the Kyle Zieglers of the world, I need to have a big week. How scared are you of putting Josh Jacobs into your lineup?
I think I'm playing this week. I think I think you got to. I mean, the Packers are in the mix here, right? Like every one of these games is absolutely freaking crucial because this division's so close and so many division games come up. They got to get these wins. I think Jacobs goes. I think especially the fact that Wilson is probably not going to play. Like now they're like, oh no, you got to play. Like we need you. So I'm playing Josh Jacobs this week. I was looking at those, reading some of the reports. I'm like, oh man, this is going to suck for people that have Jacobs. I think you got to go Josh Jacobs this week. I think he's a play. If it burns you, I think it'd burn you more if you didn't play him and he had a good game than if you play him and he doesn't play great. I'd rather keep him in. So especially Scott Fishbowl scoring with the way they're doing the scoring there with running backs and some other things. I think if you have a playable running back, you've got to have him in.
So he's in my lineup currently, but I have to decide between Pittman and Kelsey. And the tight end premium thing is what's making me keep Kelsey in there. And Phillip Rivers being the quarterback for Indy is making me fade Pittman. But anyhow, needless to say, we're not all the Kyle Zieglers of the world who was like 6 last week or 2 weeks ago and is crushing it. Dude, seriously, congratulations on all your success in Scott Fishbowl.
Dude, you've been awesome. I missed the playoffs this year. I tell you what,
Warrior Bowl though.
Warrior Bowl. I've been number one almost every. A little bad week last week, but I'm hoping that was my one bad week, and now I'm back in the mix there. I've got a playoff bye this week in Warrior Bowl, so that's nice because I won my division. Scott Fishbowl, I tell you what, I screwed myself because I got into the Indianapolis Colts division. Of course, when I'm going to take all the Colts players, now I'm in with all the Colts people. I thought I was picking 112. I thought I was getting JT easy at 112. The guy right in front of me took him, threw me all off. I was going JT CMC back to back. And he threw me all off, took JT. I got all nervous. And I took Justin Jefferson because I thought he was going to go before me. He didn't. And then, of course, I take Justin Jefferson in his worst fantasy season. And then I immediately took Lamb instead of CMC because I got all nervous. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just go a bunch of wide receivers. And then Lamb's been banged up a lot of the year. He's played well. He's been in there. But, yeah, would have totally changed my Scott Fishbowl world if Jonathan Taylor did not get taken one pick before me because I would have went back-to-back JT and CMC, and I would have been looking real good most of this year.
So, JT, remember how I told you in the Fantasy and Frames Dynasty League I left Servassier Dennis in my lineup? Last week, I had to beat Kyle to get into the playoffs. Guess who I'm playing this week? Kyle. And he's already up big with me. Baker Mayfield got him 27.9 points. Jalen Walker, That
was a dud for me. That was only 7 points, Jorge?
Yep. But you're still projected to win, which God, and you know what's the worst part about it?
I'm not an IDP guy.
No. Well, that's sure. We'll throw that in there. But
beat at your own game.
He's gonna lose to a guy who doesn't do IDP.
Beaten at my own game.
I learned from the best.
Thank you. I appreciate. I'm sure you're talking to JT now. But I left Servassier Dennis in there. And my team name is past the Servassier. Yeah. The trifecta of what the hell is going on. Speaking of what the hell is going on, let's go to Galaxy Pickers question here. Parkinson or Goddard? I like Parkinson this week. I like Parkinson too. I love exactly his involvement in this passing game. Stafford seems to be trusting him a lot more as we're seeing the upside there develop here.
I'm usually a Goddard guy, but I think you're right here. I think they're using the tight end more. I think this is going to be a higher scoring game. Goddard's been pretty solid this year, but if you're going for upside, I think Parkinson's probably your upside play.
3-man sweep. I'm with you.
Yeah, we look at the lot. I mean, both are having tough situations, which is obviously why you're asking this question. The Raiders don't do a lot well. But they know how to restrict tight ends from getting fantasy points as they are dead last in points allowed the past 3 weeks.
Jorge, I got a couple questions for you from our this or that segment.
Shoot,
you don't have an answer for that, do
you? We did, but I'll play it again.
The choice is yours. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that.
You like how I set that up? Do you have that?
I love that. Before
I
you
just
start,
wanted you to play it again, to be honest with you. That's just all it was.
okay,
The
one
choice
second.
is yours. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that. I think you get with this.
I'm glad you guys don't see me like dancing in the background for.
Oh, I see you. I see you.
We can
Oh, you
see you.
do?
I got my
We can see you. But
everybody else can, but we can see you.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm embarrassed.
Well, once we
you're
get
totally
get you hooked up here, you'll be fine. I do want to say though, for people who are tuning in, you know, I know the start and sit questions have slowed down a little bit. Hold on to them, because you know, as we do every single week here on the Fantasy and Frames Sunday pregame show, Andy Behrens of the Deep Shot from Yahoo ESPN. You know Andy Behrens. He always joins us at the 11:30 mark here to round out the show. So we are 10 minutes away from Andy Behrens joining us. So this is your chance to talk to one of the most humble future Hall of Famers in the biz, Andy Behrens. So he'll be with us today. But let's get into this and that question.
This and that. I got a couple QB questions for you guys, and I'm actually shocked we didn't get as many of these questions in the start sit earlier. What are we doing with Jacoby Brissett? He has gotten a lot of teams this far here with his play down the stretch. Now he has the crazy bad matchup of going against the Texans, who've been the number one pass defense team. Are you rolling out Brissett, or are you switching it up and going with like a Trevor Lawrence or a Marcus Mariota or a Tua Tagovailoa? Are you going with one of those guys, or maybe even Aaron Rodgers, or are you sticking and saying, hey, I know it's not a great matchup, but I'm just hoping Brissett gets a million passes and I'm starting him? What are you guys feeling on Brissett versus kind of maybe that next tier of QB right behind him this week?
So I say this, and I am not being a homer right now. Okay, I am not. I'm being legit. You look at Marcus Mariota's fantasy finishes, Week 10 versus Detroit, 18. Or you look at his numbers rather, 18.7 versus Miami, 16.4, which was the good enough for quarterback 9 that week, versus Denver, one of the toughest defenses in all of football, quarterback 3 with 24.3 points. Came in and relieved the Jaden Daniels last week, so we can ignore that performance. Versus the Giants, who since week 11, 6th most points to the quarterback position. The rushing floor obviously saves them. So whenever you're worried about matchups, whenever you're looking at the strength of the opponent they're going against, again, rushing quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks, they help to bridge that gap in whatever tough matchups that you have there. So I would go Mariota. What about you, Kyle?
Well, you gave me an option here to throw out my boy, JJ McCarthy. JT, you didn't give me that option.
He was another one I was going to throw in there because he's on the opposite side of the Brissett train, right?
Yep.
He's a guy that's not been as good, but he's now got the great matchup going against the Cowboys. Are we trusting like a JJ with a great matchup over a Brissett who's been way better fantasy-wise, but a horrible matchup?
Yeah, I'm going JJ McCarthy now. So I'm going to double down on this take, because I got it right last week against the Commanders. I'm going JJ McCarthy again. Another bad defense. We've seen him play well against bad defenses. That's what he does. Against good defenses, he struggles. They simplified the offense. I know people kind of poked fun at that, but it actually benefited JJ McCarthy. It's a good thing for him. He's young. He only has 7 starts now. He started out, with all these injuries. He's just had a bad draw, guys. I still believe he needs the reps. He needs to get in there, needs to get the snaps. And this is the week to do it, or the month, I should say, because his schedule is set up so beautifully. I'm going to double down on JJ McCarthy against the Dallas Cowboys. They are improving. Don't get me wrong. The Cowboys defense has improved a little bit, but they're still beatable. We know that. And I think JJ McCarthy can keep the train moving, so to speak.
All right, let's get to Juan's question. He's been patient with us. Thank you very much, Juan. Supporter here at Fantasy and Frames each and every week. Help me. Okay, we got you. He needs a wide receiver 2 and 3 and a flex spot. Okay, let's go in order. He needs an RB2, a wide receiver 2 and 3, and 1 flex. So let's address the
4 total.
Yeah, let's address the running back situation here. He needs one of the following: Charbonnet, Henderson, Wilson, Jacobs, First of all, thank you for formatting your question in such a way that it's easy for us to follow. You'd be surprised, folks out there, where they just throw out just words in some random order, and we're like, here, which one do we go with? And it's like, so thank you, Juan. Charbonnet, Henderson, Wilson, Jacobs. If Jacobs is good to go, Jacobs is the play for me, followed by Wilson. Excuse me, Henderson. And then Wilson. Is everybody cool?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you go Jake first as your RB2, and then we'll get, as we keep talking about, Henderson's in the mix for the flex spot for me here.
Okay. Let's go wide receiver. He needs a 2 and a 3 between Addison, Samuel, Myers, QJ, Butte, and DK. Haha. Wow. That worked out nicely. And then Higgins and Slayton. So for me, against the Dallas secondary, it's Jordan Addison. And then Deebo Samuel. No Zach Ertz, as mentioned earlier by Crypto Life Bags earlier. You like to see the usage there. He got, I believe it was in the 30s in terms of target percentage last week. It just versus the Vikings, things weren't going well. I think this week versus the Giants, he's going to do a lot better. So Addison and Samuel for me for wide receivers 2 and 3. What about you, Kyle?
I'm right there with you. I totally agree.
What about you, JT?
Yeah, I think it's Jacobs at running back, Addison at wide receiver for sure. Deebo Myers, I'm close on. I'll probably go Deebo. I just like the offense. I think Washington has a chance to have a pretty decent offensive game. So I'm going with those guys. Then my flex spot, it's a real toss-up for me between Henderson and Myers here. No PPR or half PPR, probably Henderson. Full PPR, I might slightly lean Myers. I hate not to play Henderson, though. I think I'm probably going Henderson in that flex spot, but it'd be between Henderson and Myers for me.
And then he needs one. Okay, so then the flex option.
Yeah, and that flex, I'm between Henderson and Myers. I'm probably slightly leaning Henderson for the flex spot.
I'm with you on that, JT. I go Henderson as well.
All right, there we go. And then he has a question for waivers available on his waiver wire. Devin Singletary, Brian Robinson, Chris Brooks, Jordan Mason, or Pierre Strong. Pierre Strong, that's who was elevated off the practice squad for Green Bay.
If Kittle's out there, if he's saying he's got Kittle available, I go Kittle at tight end.
Yeah.
For sure.
I would go Kittle first pickup.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably do Mason as my second. I know Singletary's getting some play right now, maybe him, but the only thing is if anything happens to Aaron Jones, Mason immediately becomes a very playable guy every time Aaron Jones goes down. So Mason's one of my favorite handcuffs.
It's funny you said that, JD, because in his prior question, for a second, I thought maybe Kittle was an option to flex, and I was kind of leaning toward. Then I realized that's his tight end. So yeah, but yeah, if you can get him in on waivers.
Oh no, you're right. He did. Yeah, he does have Kittle as the tight end. So I think he might have accidentally put the Kittle in the end of that one. So I think you're right. So yeah, probably I'm leaning Mason then Singletary as a waiver pickup for me. That's where I would go.
That's where I am too.
All right, just following with Jay. Play the Dolphins, Broncos, or Cowboys. Definitely not the Cowboys. And it'd be Broncos for me. Yeah. So, okay, let's go here to the next one. He also has Devin Henderson or Devin Neal, full PPR. JT, you've been a very staunch supporter of Devin Neal this week. Is it enough to make you want to play him over Travion Henderson, however?
Oh, that's a toughie, man. That's I really, really like Devin Neal, but I also loved Devin Neal coming out of college. I thought he was highly underdrafted. I've told people this, and I'm sure my Steelers friends are tired of hearing it. I would have much rather seen the Steelers take Devin Neal in the third round than who they took. I like Devin Neal as a running back a lot. I think he was just way underdrafted. He reminded me a lot of when Chase Brown went late to the Bengals. I thought he should have went higher as well. This one, oh man, it's so tough because Henderson's been good. The Bills haven't been the greatest against RBs. I think these guys have similar games, to be honest with you. I think you can see both of them getting, anywhere from 10 to 15 carries and hopefully 4 or 5 catches each. I think these guys are right similar. Probably just for the consistency, I probably go Henderson from what he's done this year. He's been more consistent than just Neal, but I love Neal. I'm finding spots if I can get him in my lineup. I'm getting Neal in, but I probably lean Henderson a little more over Neal head to head.
I'm actually in this same scenario, just balling with Jay. I'm in the same. I got those same two guys. I'm rolling with Devin Neal in full PPR in this case, only for the simple reason that it's going to come down to volume. And Devin Neal is the guy. Like, he is every down back pretty much. So I'm going Devin.
They don't have
Neal.
anybody else, right? Like,
right? Yeah, and I'm scared. Stevenson, I know that I said earlier that Hendo has gotten into that goal line work in the red zone. He's up the tick a little bit, but you can't trust Mike Vrabel, man. He is like, you don't know what he's going to do. He could clearly lean Stevenson and you would not be shocked. Nobody here would be like, oh, next week, oh, here we go. Stevenson was, 65% snap leader in that backfield. None of us would be shocked. I feel like Devin Neal is going to get the volume. I would go Devin Neal in this situation.
All right, let's get to an IDP question from Crypto Life Bags. And JT, this goes to what you and I were talking about with Gary Davenport on Shoot the Gap. We do not like the Steelers edge rushers matchup versus the Miami Dolphins. And he's asking, do we like Herbig and Highsmith, especially with no TJ Watt this week versus Tua? He says, I'm getting worried about starting rookies. And he's thinking about Joseph Ossai and Alex Hunt right now. Honestly, we look at what Joseph Ossai did against the Ravens on Thanksgiving. 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks. I believe there was a forced fumble also. So it's not like the situation where, Lamar is too shifty. Ossai was sticking with him. So, we saw that. And that's without Trey Hendrickson on the other side applying pressure, Trey Hendrickson is out for the rest of the season. So I would actually like Hunt and Ossai. With TJ Watt being there out this week, JT, what are your thoughts on Herbig and Highsmith?
I like Hunt. I just like that matchup. I think he has a chance to have a big game against the Raiders. We talked about it. I don't love this matchup just because the Dolphins have been getting the ball out quick. They've been running the ball more. The problem here's Highsmith. I like Highsmith a ton, but Highsmith also is really good because TJ Watt's on the other side. I do like Herbig as well, but this is not my favorite matchup this week for the Steelers, and I usually am playing those guys pretty much no worries. I put them in my lineup. I think I go Ossai Hunt. If I have to go 2 guys, if I have to pick just one, I think Hunt's probably the guy I go with in this situation.
Just in time to answer Juan's playoff question, which, by the way, I'll get to that in a second. Let's bring on Mr. Andy Behrens. Andy, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. I want you guys to know that I was I went for a short run this morning in the in the Chicago cold. It's really freaking cold right now. This is going to be and like historically, people have done pretty large sample studies on this. Like, cold weather by itself does not really impact game totals. It's really freaking cold. It's like -8 real feel. There's just enough wind to make it uniquely unpleasant. So we'll see. It should be a beautiful game, but my God, it's cold. Like, it's only I had to hit the door running. Basically, it's not comfortable if you're not moving.
So definitely got some stretching and the running start going in before heading outside. I love it. Ryan in the chat. Andy, welcome, one of the goats. When you said you went for a run, my immediate thought was like, given this awesome marathon you're doing next year, did you stop at Taco Bell? Have you started the whole running and going to Taco Bell training yet or not yet?
Oh, yeah. About once every 2 weeks, I'll do a run where it'll be like, I'll start with a Crunchwrap Supreme, and then I'll do 3 miles, and then I'll hit a Burrito Supreme, and then I'll go 2 miles, and then another, and then I go 1 mile. I'll do So yeah. I haven't built up mileage and food intake simultaneously. I'm just starting slow to see how they ride.
That's a smart way to go about it. Well, let's bring on Juan's question in the chat, and he says he emphasizes playoff question. And I just want to give a shout out to him because earlier he was just asking his normal questions, and he didn't emphasize that they were playoff questions, which leads me to believe he's still taking his league seriously and wanting to fill his lineups and get people off waivers. Maybe he has consolation prizes or draft order, on the line. So kudos to still playing and playing strong. But he has a playoff question here for you. Who is my QB1? I got Brissett on waivers. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, or Caleb Williams. Who jumps out to you as somebody who should be his QB1 for the playoffs?
I like the idea of having Brissett on the roster, but man, I don't think I could do it against the Texans. He's complicated, right? Like so many of his stats have been like garbage time might send this guy to the Pro Bowl this year.
Right.
He's a lot of it is in the fourth quarter of games in which they are clearly not winning. It all counts, but man, Houston's a tough one. So for me, this would come down to Stroud and Lawrence. I'd give a slight edge to Lawrence because I really like how often he's run and where he's run, and the rushing touchdown upside here. Also, like that is just an absolutely hollowed out version of the Jets defense that offers very little resistance. And I think even if Jacksonville gets out to a big lead, I think Trevor Lawrence is a big part of it.
Kyle, what are your thoughts here?
I was the same as Andy, debating between Stroud and Lawrence, but I think I would actually go Stroud against Arizona. I like that matchup a little bit better. I just don't know if I can. It's close though. I mean, it really is close, but I think I would lean CJ Stroud against Arizona. I like that matchup just a hair bit more.
I actually I have that choice in a league that I am really sweating, and I've flipped it. I flipped it like 3 times this week.
I'm in the same boat. I like those guys in a ton of leagues. I have all 3 of those guys in a bunch of super flex. I think I'm going Lawrence first, Stroud second, Brissett third. I got a quick question for Andy to go right along with this. Brissett, would you play him or Tua against the Steelers Monday night? Brissett's been the guy that's been in my lineup, but I don't love this matchup at all. Would you still play Brissett and hope for the garbage time points, or would you maybe play Tua on Monday against the Steelers?
I feel like playing Tua is you just want to kick it down the road an extra day. You just don't want to whatever's coming your way. You don't want it to happen today. You want to have an extra 24 hours of hope. And I honestly, I think that's a fine path to go down. I don't see a lot of difference between the two. I think it's more likely. I will say, I think it's more likely that Brissett just throws the ball 45 times and gives you a usable passing total, even if there's a couple of picks in there, even if it's like an ugly path to 300 yards or 280 yards. I think I would still lean Brissett. Like two is so weird because you got to hope that they throw all these balls out in the flat to Devon Achane where they just simply don't care if it ends up a reception or a handoff, right? Like half of them are backwards, half of them are just barely forward passes, and you just got to hope you're on the right side of that, I think.
So I'm going to throw a wrench in here, and out of these quarterback options, I would hold on to Brissett if I could, but if I had an extra spot. And I mentioned this earlier, the Carolina Panthers, they win the NFC South. And so while a difficult matchup versus the Saints next week, and again, this is somebody who put it all on the line back in 2017 and had Blake Bortles carry him to a championship because of garbage time points versus the 49ers. They get the Panthers get Tampa Bay, who the past month have given up the most fantasy points to the quarterback position. So that is the ceiling plays there. But for week 17, and I get it, it's week 17, championship week, you're probably going to ride to the person who you came to the dance with. But if you are in a horrible situation at quarterback, I'm just saying, just throwing that out there. That's another. We've been doing the more you know segments from NBC, like they had back in the day. That falls under the more you know. Right there. Kyle, let's go back to you here. Question here from Ryan. Joe Burrow or Josh Allen this week?
Oh, man. Josh Allen against the rival Patriots there. I think I'll go Joe Burrow. I think I'm going to go Joe Burrow over Josh Allen this week. It's tough, Josh Allen on the road to New England. I'm going to go Burrow in this one.
All right. JT got an IDP, a couple of IDP questions for you. Let's start out here to Philip. Welcome back, Philip. Kevin Winston or Maddox this week? Who would you be rolling with here?
I'm not sure how good Winston is, but everybody keeps going after him, so he keeps getting a ton of chances to make tackles and pass defenses. I'm probably going Winston here.
And then we got another one, Jalen Phillips or Max Crosby. Give me Jalen Phillips here, given the matchup here. Love it. His pressure totals have been just phenomenal. The sacks have not been there, but given the matchup here, I'm going to go with Jalen Phillips. All right, Andy, let's go back to you. Start two. This is from Evan. Go 1165 over on YouTube. Start two. Swift, Daddle, Monungai, Krosky, Merritt. Let's start with that one first.
Yeah, I'm probably, unless we get some solid news on Chris Rodriguez, I think Krosky Merritt is just too much of a dice roll, too much of a flyer for me. And he's not, like McNichols is like the third down guy. McNichols has sort of the known role. So we really need Rodriguez to be out for Krosky Merritt to do anything or for the game to get out of hand. So I would go Swift here. I think he's perfectly reliable. And I don't like in a vacuum. I like Monangai, but I would go Dowdle over Kyle Monangai because you obviously don't want to double tap Bears.
Right. Okay. JT, let's go to the start one portion here at the tight end position. Likely Juwan Johnson or Darren Waller this week.
I'm firing up Likely everywhere. It's just such a good matchup. The stats haven't been there because of random penalties, the fumble, all the different stuff. But if you've watched Baltimore play the last couple of weeks, Likely is the one guy on offense that's kind of standing out. So I like Likely, and it's just a smash matchup against the Bengals.
It's like the most snake bit couple of weeks in a row that I've ever seen, right? Like getting stripped inside the one for a touchdown and then losing the touchdown in the replay review was crazy.
But I think we learned last week. I think Nate was asking us, Dawson Knox, how are we feeling? And it's like, are they playing Cincinnati? Yep, Dawson Knox is the way to go, and I'm glad that worked out for him.
Yeah, it's so funny, Jorge, because in the beginning of the season, it was anybody who plays Dallas. And right now, we're thinking anybody who plays Cincinnati, fire them up.
Yep. Well, speaking of firing up a quarterback here, Kyle, why don't you answer this one from Just Ballin' with Jay? Brock Purdy or Drake May is it's not a 60-point passing touchdown. It's a 6-point. He later six-point passing touchdown, 300-yard bonus. Who would you throw out here?
Oh, that 300-yard bonus. I wouldn't even worry about that. That's irrelevant to me, in my opinion, but Drake May is the better quarterback. I'm going Drake May in this matchup. I know Purdy has got a good matchup against those shredded Titans, but as you can
Titan
see,
paraphernalia is in the background.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? It could be a blowout potential there in that game, and it could be all on the ground with Christian McCaffrey. I believe he's playing, right, guys? I'd go Drake May in this.
All right. Let's go here.
He brought you there.
This is true. Mo Diesel 1026 Andy says rank these in order in half PPR. I'm assuming he means for this week only. Kelsey, Schultz, Gadsden, Theo Johnson, Mike Gesicki.
It's funny that you want them all ranked in order. Like, how many tight ends can you possibly start? Actually, scratch that. I'm in a Kings Classic league in which I think I'm starting 4 tight ends. So
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, I think I'm at least in 3 leagues. I'm starting 4 tight ends this week.
He could be thinking guys on waivers too, maybe to pick one up if you like a guy better than the other, possibly.
Yeah,
can you imagine?
I would not have them in the order that you list them here. I would go Kelsey, Schultz, Theo. Theo and Gesicki are really close. I'm imagining, maybe this is one of those things that I'm just sort of manifesting because I'm starting him in one league, but I'm imagining a big Mike Gesicki week here with Higgins sidelined, and then I'd have Gadsden last. I don't know where it was a really nice ride with Gadsden, and I like him long term, but I don't know where people find the courage to start him now.
I would love for somebody to send me a screenshot or to send us all screenshots of a league that they created where it's only start tight ends. Just only start tight
Kickers
ends,
and tight ends.
kickers and tight ends, and maybe a DST here and there.
I did have a league one time that it was 35 yards was 7 points for a tight end receiving, and then receiving touchdowns were 9 instead of 6 for tight ends, and it got pretty wild. Like sometimes you were like taking some tight ends over other guys because you're like, ooh, it was no PPR, and it was only but you had to hit like 25 yards receiving, 50 yards receiving. So if you didn't hit 50 yards receiving as a wideout, it was only 5 points, but you had to hit 50 to get 8 points. So that 35 yards for a tight end was pretty enticing when you got like 7 or 8 points for 35 yards for a tight end. So that was a weird league I had back in the day.
Oh, that's not this year. Like where?
No, I
did
don't
tight
have
ends
it.
get drafted?
That league folded. That league actually folded.
Of course it
I
did.
used to draft like tight end super
You don't
high.
say.
It folded because everybody got mad because they couldn't figure out the scoring system, and me and like one other guy kind of like it was a weird league where like if you were a running back and you had 35 yards receiving out of the backfield, it was 8 points. It was like if you were a running quarterback and you ran for a touchdown, it was like 12 points for a rushing touchdown. It was all out of element. Like if you had everybody did anything, like a wide receiver with a rushing touchdown was like 12 points. So it was crazy. Me and another guy figured out the scoring system eventually, and we kept winning every year, and then everybody quit because they're like, I don't understand why my team sucks every year. It was like you have to completely draft like third down backs and tight ends. It's like it was people hated it, and so they ended up eventually the league went for like 20 years, but it folded like 2 years ago. Everybody finally just got
That
tired.
seems like a crazy amount of time for that league to exist.
I know, right?
I'm a firm believer that once a season starts, you don't change the rules or scoring settings. I feel like that's just frowned upon. So one of my longest leagues I've been a part of, they made a mistake. They were transferring their scoring settings from ESPN to Sleeper, and they messed up the DST scoring, where week 1, the highest scoring fantasy option you had was the Dallas Cowboys DST, which put up over 100 points. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Obviously, there was an error, but being somebody who's a purist, like you don't change the scoring settings, I'm like, this could be the most interesting fantasy football league I have ever been in. Keep it, but they changed it. I'm like, you all suck.
Jorge, I had started a new family league with all the kids and everybody, and I jacked up the defensive special team scoring this
There
year.
you go.
And all the returners were getting like 800 yards, and people were like, "What? I missed. I put a decimal point in the wrong spot somewhere." I eventually changed it because it was a first year league, but it was like all the defensive special teams were like 300 projected points. It was wild.
Love it. Let's talk about wild options here for Just Balling with Jay. Juwan Jennings or Blake Corum. We'll go around the frames here. Kyle, let's start with you this time.
Definitely Juwan Jennings for me. I love Blake Corum, but I'm going to take a starter who's going to get a lot more snaps than another player like Blake Corum. Even though I do like Blake Corum, but in this instance, I'm going Juwan Jennings.
What about you, Andy?
Yeah, I'd go Jennings in a matchup that they should be able to crush. He's been really, really good lately. But I do want to echo that I really like Corum as well. And Corum is somebody who maybe we were talking about it last week. Like he should just be 100% rostered right now. Like that's exactly the kind of player that, something happens to Williams and all of a sudden he's a top 10 fantasy running back. Even if it doesn't, though, man, that guy's playing early. It's not like, it's not like he's just coming on in garbage time. He's playing early in games.
He gets series, too. He gets a whole series to himself, which you got to like.
Love it, love it, love it. We got your boy Fletch, whatever. Devin Neal or Zay Flowers, PPR. JT, I know this morning you have been on the Devin Neal bandwagon, but in PPR,
Staying on the train. Staying on the train. Okay. Devin Neal. I'm still going Devin Neal here. I think Andrews and Likely are the guys that have the shot to have the biggest game passing wise for the Ravens. Zay Flowers has been so inconsistent stuff. I'm playing him in some spots, but I'd rather play Neal. I just think Neal gets a ton of touches today.
Andy, what are your thoughts here on Devin Neal versus Zay Flowers in a PPR?
Full PPR, I would still go Zay Flowers. It's close. Zay Flowers has also been part of that. Like, this is just a wild ride for Baltimore these last couple of weeks. That OPI flag a couple of weeks ago was one of the worst calls I've ever seen.
Horrible call.
Touchdown off the board, just an absolutely terrible call. So he's been close. Yeah, full PPR, I go that way. My thing with Neal is, is that guy ever going to find the end zone?
This is the week, Andy. You gotta believe this is the
They
week.
still seem to love Taysom Hill like a pet when they get at the goal line. I don't know, man.
Now let's go to our next question here. Crypto Life Bags. Theo, no, he was just commenting on somebody else's. All right, Nikki Banks is back with us. Welcome back. JCM or Xavier Worthy in a PPR. Kyle?
I was afraid you were going to go to me first. Yeah, definitely. I'll go Worthy here, depending on, Rodriguez's situation. But, even if Rodriguez is ruled out, I don't know if I can trust Krosky, but we've seen him in that RB1 role, and oh my God, it's like a roll of the dice of what's going to happen. So, I mean, I know Worthy really hasn't done much either, but I would take my chances with Xavier Worthy in this situation.
You know what I come back to with Worthy in this matchup is that remember it was the Chargers game start of the season where he originally suffered the injury, the friendly fire injury. They were going to build that whole damn game plan out of Xavier Worthy. He was, I think, only played a handful of snaps in that game before he got hurt, but like half of them they were trying to get the ball to him. He was going to have the day that Hollywood Brown had, basically, except as a more dynamic athlete. So, part of me is just thinking, man, maybe they've had that game plan on the shelf this whole time, and we're going to see a lot of Worthy in this one.
I like it.
All right, let's get to our next question here. JT, let's start with you this time from Philip in the YouTube chat. Kincaid, likely, or Barner, likely? I guess we'll go around the frames. And
Yeah, Likely's my guy. I mean, unless I don't know if there's anybody else I like more than Likely at tight end this week. I think he just has a big week. I'm going with him for sure. I'm Likely first, then Kincaid, then Barner.
I feel like we're just building to JT being asked, Trey McBride or Isaiah Likely.
Devin Neal. Yep, Devin Neal. No matter what,
we're just stepping up to that. Yeah.
We should get Kevin Costner, because that would be so easy, just to swap in and play the part of JT this week and say Isaiah Likely no matter what. So let's see here. We got Leak Res 2 with Rodriguez out, JCM or Tracy. I think you got to go Tracy, even though the team rushing percentages have been relatively close between him and Singletary, but Tracy is leading the way in that percentage. And then, of course, everything we've been saying about JCM, unless somebody thinks differently. Let's get to our next one. Crypto Life Bags, Ashton Genty or Jalen Warren. Andy, why don't you kick us off with this one?
Yeah, I'd play Warren. I know that's not even satisfying, right? You want to play Genty, who's your first round pick or an early second round pick, but I just find it very difficult to trust him at this stage. I don't like the way they use him as a receiver. It's not like I doubt his talent at all, but it's just a messy matchup.
What about you, Kyle?
I'm right there with him. I can't trust that Raiders offense, the Raiders offensive line in any capacity, so I'll take Warren.
It's interesting. You look at expected fantasy points per game versus fantasy points per game. Ashton Genty expected this past 3 weeks to have an average of 16.7, has only gotten you 11.6. That is a huge drop off there. Wow. Let's see. We got a question here from Crypto Life Bags. Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much for the donation. We really appreciate it. That means the world to us. New favorite fantasy show. You guys are nerds, and I love it too. Love you guys. You know what? The Steve Urkels in us, we appreciate that. So thank you so much for that. He also asks, pick two, Genty, Warren, or Watson. So, Andy, am I speaking out of turn that the latter two are the ones you'd be rolling with here in the situation?
Man, tough spot for Watson, but he's got the size and the speed to still get through. I think, I'd probably go Warren and Watson there.
Alrighty. JT, IDP question here for you. Overshown or Splain? Splain has been declared healthy this week. Who would you roll with this week?
I'm going Splain. I think the Bills want to run the ball. I like the high upside of Splain. And I just don't know what I think the Vikings are going to try to attack down the field. So I think Spillane, higher tackle upside.
All righty. I love it. All right. We got Alex in the chat. Morning. Would you guys go with Ladd or Dowdle in full PPR? Johnson was listed as out, so wondering how this will affect Ladd. We mentioned Ladd earlier the past 3 weeks, wide receiver 49 in targets. Obviously, that's no bueno. But how much was Johnston really eating into that, so to speak, the past few weeks? That's the part I need to go back and look at. And again, in the full PPR, I think even versus the Chiefs, you'd have to roll with Ladd. What about you, Andy?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, the offense is barely supporting one startable fantasy receiver right now, so I don't know how much anybody affects anybody else. But yeah, I'd feel best about Ladd in full PPR.
All right, JT, throwing it back to you. Barrett Carter or Cody Simon at linebacker here for Phillip.
That one's close for me. Cody Simon had like 4 really good weeks in a row before he kind of just did nothing last week against the Rams. It was by far his worst game since he became a full-time starter. But Texans are not terrible about giving up points to linebackers. I might go Simon here on this one. I think Knight actually has a better game than Carter for the Bengals.
All right. We got another question here. Kyle, let's go with you. Keaton Mitchell or Zach Charbonnet this week?
Zach Charbonnet. I think he's going to get more opportunity than Keaton Mitchell. So I'll go Charbonnet just for opportunity purposes.
All right. Let's see here. Crypto Life Bags. Andy, throwing it back to you. Aaron Rodgers or Marcus Mariota this week?
Well, you're saying need big upside. I mean, there's not big upside attached to either player. I'd go Mariota because you get a dash of rushing ability, you get a really friendly matchup against the Giants. So yeah, it's Mariota. But again, I don't think we're talking about two players who can give you like 4 touchdown games or anything like that. Not that there's any such thing on the waiver wire either.
Right. A fair point. So Andy, I don't know if you know the backstory here, but epic fail. It took a long time, embarrassingly, for a lot of us here, at least for JT and I, to realize that his user tag was epic fail, because every week we would say 3P1C fail. And it wasn't until Shoot the Gap, our IDP show, where Gary Davenport, he was out for a little bit. He came back and we were telling the story about this. He's like, how long had this been going on where you were calling him 3P1C fail? And I said, 3 weeks. He's like, it took you 3 weeks to figure out it's epic fail. So this is probably the funniest story of the fantasy season. But now that I know it's epic fail, I just can't help but call him 3P1C fail. So 3P1C fail, Tyler Shuck or Bryce Young. Kyle, who are you rolling with here?
I'm going to go Tyler Shuck, actually. I like what he's been doing here the last couple of weeks. Quarterback 12, quarterback 6. Yeah. He's kind of getting the ball rolling here. I'll go Tyler Shuck in this instance.
Andy, you concur with that?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I gave, coming into the league, I don't think I gave him credit for being the rushing threat that he is. He's looked really good on the ground these last couple of weeks.
Andy, this question's throwing it back to you because I know it has one of your favorite players here. Chris Rodriguez out. Should I flex JCM, Bill, aka Bill, or Harold Fannin in a PPR?
I mean, I obviously I want to say Harold Fannin. I think Harold Fannin's awesome. I think you got to go. I think you got to go Krosky Merritt here in a gift of a matchup against the Giants. I don't think he'll be alone in that backfield, and I actually think Jeremy McNichols probably has like my 3 or 4 favorite runs by any commander this year. I think he's been really good, and I think he's going to play. But I think you got to go JCM there.
All right, JT, throwing it back to you. Brees Hall, Walker, or Roma Dunze. Let's assume PPR for all you standard non-PPR haters out there, which I can't stand you. Just kidding. Phil, JT, who you got here in this matchup? Or these options, rather.
If it was non-PPR, I'd probably go Walker. And PPR, I'm going Brees Hall, just because again, I've said it a couple times on the show, I think Brady Cook just dumps it off to him a ton. I think we're going to see a ton of 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12s, and then he can't find anybody down the field, and they just drop it off, and Brees Hall ends up with 10 catches for 54 yards.
Alrighty. Kyle, let's throw this to you at Joe Swans. Is this Joe Swanson, like the reference to the Family Guy, the cop there? I'm curious to know if that's where you're rolling with. He says, full PPR, I have Henry and Javonte as my running backs, Terry and Nico Collins as my wide receivers. He needs a flex. Wandale, RJ Harvey, Christian Watson, Cortland Sutton, or Justin Jefferson?
That's
I
so
can't-
crazy that Justin Jefferson is in flex questions with Wandale Robinson. That's crazy.
That's how bad it's been,
Wow.
Andy. I know.
I
And
know.
you know what? You can't do it. You can't sit Justin Jefferson. I know it's been rough, but the moment you sit Justin Jefferson, you know what's going to happen. He's going to have a 2 to 3 touchdown game from McCarthy. It's a good matchup for Jefferson. You got to go Justin Jefferson. I know it hurts. I know you're worried, but you know what? He can do it. And if this is
Well, then
if
maybe we need Joe to sit Jefferson so that Jefferson can perform for them. Maybe we just have to sacrifice Joe's team.
Take one for the
so that-
team, right?
Yeah.
Joe takes one for the team for everybody.
well, then in that case, RJ Harvey.
I love it. I love it. I love it. 3P1C fail asking for a PPR pick 2. I'm never getting off of this. This is forever going to be a thing. Pick 2: Shakir, Debo, Brees Hall, Sutton, Hampton. Andy, let's throw it back to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Brees Hall here. I like the plan that we came up with for Brees Hall to just get a bunch of check down action today. That feels right to me. And then it's gonna be Hampton, and I'm gonna trust that they're gonna use him near the goal line.
What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, right there with him. I think I said it earlier in the show that I think Hampton's going to get a little bit more of a ramp up, and I think he can maybe take off this week.
All right, JT, IDP question thrown your way. Carter, Henley, or Drake Thomas here at the linebacking position?
Henley's been disappointing. I think you got to go Drake Thomas. There is no way the Colts aren't just pounding the rock today. They got to run the football. That means Drake Thomas is going to have shot at a lot of tackles. I think you got to play Drake Thomas.
All right. 3P1C fail back again. PPR pick 1. You think I'm joking here, Andy? This is never going away. This is going to be forever. He asks for PPR: Jennings, Adunze, Debo, or Singletary. So for me, it's Jennings. Any different call here for you, Andy?
It's pretty close between Jennings and Adunze. I don't know 100% that Adunze is going to play every possible snap. I don't know that he's going to be how affected he's going to be by the foot injury. I'd probably go Jennings because I love that matchup and love the way he's been playing lately. But it's very close.
All right. And then Kyle, why don't you take us home for today from Tootsie Pop 6?
Oh man,
Devon Bailey or A.D. Mitchell, the most awesome sit question of the day.
yeah. Thanks, Tootsie Pop, for this one. I guess I have to go AD Mitchell here in this situation. It's rough, but I don't know if AD Mitchell's going to have another bagel, so I'll go with AD Mitchell and hope to God that maybe he gets a lot of short passes and takes one to the house, because that's what you're hoping for.
A lot of praying to a higher power. Love it. That's always, when in doubt,
Pray.
throw up the, anyhow, Philip, thank you very much for the donation. That is super generous. We really, seriously, folks, appreciate it. That's going to do it for the Fantasy and Frames Sunday pregame show. Let's go around the frames real quick, though. Andy, you're looking to all the fantasy managers and all of fantasy football. Yes, they are all consolidated into this one broadcast right now. If you had to give any parting words as they head into many of them the first round of the fantasy football playoffs, what would you say to all of them?
I think the best general advice is not to treat the fantasy playoffs much differently than you would treat like week 6 or week 7. People really galaxy brain some stuff this time of year. They get freaked out by weather. They get excited. This week we got like 6 games that are with totals that are better than a touchdown. They start thinking, oh man, I'm going to chase the late garbage time. I'm going to start all these backup running backs. That's bad. That never goes according to plan. I would treat this as if it's a mid-October matchup, and just nobody wants to do that, but I wouldn't outthink things.
What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that, because even if you played against, say, Kyle Pitts, for instance, it's not over yet. I know I know it doesn't look good. It's very gloomy right now if you're going up against Kyle Pitts, but just stay to the course, man, and just play what's gotten you here. Play the right starts. Don't get frisky. Don't get crazy. Just just go with what's got you here, because you never know. The rest of the team with Kyle Pitts could stink it up, and then you rally back.
You're in, JT.
Yeah, I think just don't. I'm in this thing where I almost totally ignore who I'm playing.
Yeah.
Now, part of that's because I'm in so many leagues, but also I'm like, I don't want to overthink where I'm like, oh, well, he's got this QB, so I got to play this wide receiver, this tight end, or he's got this defense and I got this quarterback, so I got to play. I just play your optimal lineup. Play your guys. Don't worry about who you're going against. Just hope that your guys play the best that they can possibly play and give you the highest points you can get. That, and where Andy says this is the one time of year where I start getting way into weather that I shouldn't be, but I start getting, it gets in my head, and I'm like, oh, this is a dome game. That's an outdoor game. I'm going to play this guy on a crappy offense over the guy on the awesome offense that's playing outside. Temper it down a little bit. I know I got a little crazy early in the show with the Bears-Browns game. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's freaking cold in Illinois because, Andy, like you, I got about 8 inches down here in Champaign area. It's crazy. My girlfriend's like, I can't believe you did not, get all the snow off the driveway. I'm like, it was -5 yesterday. I'm like, no, I am not plowing the snow off the driveway right now. I'm not doing it. So yeah, I think just stick with your team, play the guys that got you there. Don't sweat the matchups too much. Even though we talked a lot about matchups this week in the show, don't sweat it too much. Play your guys.
It's such a good point that you can't negate points from an opponent's lineup, and you get all these questions this time of year where it's like, hey, should I start, Mike Gesicki? Opponent has Burrow. Well, can you not imagine 5 other ways that Joe Burrow can score a lot of points and Mike Gesicki can get shut out? Like, there's not, you can't neutralize an opponent the way that you can in a real sport. I agree. You gotta just shoot for the highest possible score.
I think I'll tell the fantasy managers out there, again, opportunity, volume, those terms may matter, even, and Andy, I mentioned this earlier. It's very easy for us to get on our various apps on our phone and see the stoplight of green for good matchup, yellow for, matchup, and red for like must not play matchup. You're not in traffic. This isn't a stoplight. You're not taking a driver's test. Trust the target volume, even if it's an alpha wide receiver going against a tough matchup. Like, volume is king in fantasy football. Opportunity is king. Don't necessarily go chasing points. So pay attention to that in your lineups. And just, again, everybody, thank you very much for supporting Fantasy and Frames and all that we do here. We got your waiver wire articles. We got your plays and fades. We got our fantasy football trends. We got our rankings. We got our various podcast shows. Andy, every Monday night, which is around 6 p.m. Eastern or 7 p.m. Eastern, you and Dalton do your live stream on Twitter. Is that correct?
That's right. Looking forward to it. That's been really fun. Good participation in that too.
So head over to thedeepshot.com and read all of their content there as well. So thank you very much, everybody. Good luck in your first round of your fantasy football playoffs. Kyle, just because I am taking you on in our Dynasty League, I do not wish you the best, but, good sportsmanship, blah, 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 blah. Folks, we'll be back next week. Until then.